go live as soon as it lets me press live. Right, so it's letting me go, so give us 2 secs.
Sure.
Okay, the button's been pressed. We are live. Welcome, everybody, to episode 15 of the Xbox Live Party Podcast. My name's Ash, as always, and I am joined today. There's only a couple of us here at the moment. There'll be a few more joining in a bit, but right now, I'm joined by Fabio and Alucard. How's it going?
Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
I feel rough
Great.
as anything today, but I'm here. Would miss the podcast, so
So much work from the week.
that's it. Yeah, too much university work, too much work. It's just taking its toll. So if I just disappear, it's because I'm just not having the best of times for 5 minutes.
Gotcha. So that's it. During the episode, you're gonna take some quick naps.
That's
and
it, yeah.
I'm going to return to it.
If it's as long as last week's episodes, yeah, I will be. Hopefully we're a lot quicker today. It was nearly 3 hours last week. It won't be that today, folks. Don't you worry.
We hope so.
It won't be.
We were not expecting that to happen. I don't know what
No.
it is. Like we were just talking, and then when we had any sense of what's happening, then oh my god, it's almost 3 hours of episodes.
Yeah. But before we get into the topics and like what we've been playing, I just want to say a big shout out to everyone who's been picking up listening on the podcasting services like Anchor, Spotify, like Google Podcasts, because in the last week we have like tripled what we would normally get in a week. And
Awesome.
the last 2 episodes are bar our first episode have been our most listened to episodes ever. And I mean, the one before last is the most listened to one. So big thank you to everyone who's listening afterwards on a podcasting device. You guys rock. And especially because some of the places they come from, I mean, I was looking at the analytics. We've got people from Germany. We've got people in the US, Canada, UK, Brazil, France, and Curacao. Is that how you pronounce it? I may have butchered it. It's like a little island above like Norway, I believe, or in that sort of area. So big thank you to
Nice.
everyone who listens to us from like all over the world. I don't know why you listen to us, but thank you very much. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, that's something that I was going to ask you. Like, don't you have anything better to watch? Why are you spending your precious time listening to us? What's going on?
So
The
We're
world's
not
coming
good
to
at
an
all.
end.
God damn it.
Yeah.
what have you been playing this week, Fabio, then?
So, basically, not much because, as you guys probably know, I wasn't any of you play through like that because a lot of works the end of the semester, and I'm almost dying over here. But still, I was able to play a little bit, not as much as I wanted. But I played Dirt 5, the Series S, and it's absolutely amazing. I'm not gonna lie. Besides Forza Horizon 4, I could easily say that Dirt 5 is my favorite arcade racer. Simple as that. I just loved how that game goes. I wasn't able to play like that many hours of it, but for what I saw from the graphics, for the performance, and for how it feels to drive in that game, is just so well done. So huge congrats to Codemasters for it. I'll definitely try to pick up that game on a sale because here in Brazil it's really expensive right now, but still really worth to try it out, especially on the next gen console. I don't know how the game works on the previous gen console, like the Xbox One X, but on the Series S it's perfect. It's awesome, and probably on the Series X is
It's
way
fantastic on the Series X. I mean, I haven't played a lot. I've played probably about 2 hours of it, but it's really smooth. It plays really well. It looks
It
great.
looks
I mean,
amazing, right?
yeah. I mean, when it first launched, there was all this stupid comparison videos and that. It looks nothing like that. It looks fantastic. You put that on your telly at
Yeah.
4K 60, it looks beautiful. So
It's-
that's why Gamepass is a really good service, because that I wouldn't have played that without Game Pass. Not until it went on sale. I mean, I've bought a lot of the other Dirts when they've been really cheap a year or two later. But yeah, it's so good, and we'll have to get on and have a multiplayer session because it's really fun, and there's so many different options. Sensei's in the chat,
easy to play.
And he says it's his top arcade racer at the moment. So
thank you, someone with good taste. I know, of course, it has good taste. It's Sensei, for crying out loud. Great to have you here, but like I also played a little bit of the Falconeer. That it's been for a while on Game Pass, but I decided to play right now because I wanted to test that game on a next. Because I have the zest. I'm playing it, and let me tell you, it's smooth. It's smooth. Like I wasn't able to any drops, any big noticeable drops of frame rate. Used to be run at smooth as butter, 60 FPS, no worries. I like the visuals, but ignoring the character models besides the Falcon itself, but the human characters are just... And the gameplay is actually it's fun, but it has some problems because the game does not explain very well how to do some mechanics, and it's not like some advanced mechanics that you are going to learn throughout the game as you are playing. No, it's some basic mechanics that are important. I have no idea right now. I played for like 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, and I still have no idea how to heal myself, how to heal my character during a battle. I got no idea. I always end up dying.
I found that. I mean, I bought it like a plonker, and then it went onto Game Pass straight away, didn't it? But I pre-ordered it because I wanted to sort of support them at launch. I played like 3 missions and I couldn't get my head around it. I'll play it eventually, but there's so many in my opinion, for me, there was better games that I was interested in than the Falconeer, unfortunately. But it is good, but it was but they've updated it since I played it, and they've added loads more stuff to it and tweaked a lot of stuff, but it looks great, but I didn't know what the hell was going on half of the time. That was my issue, and I was like, well, I've got to play Valhalla, so... And then Valhalla sucked my soul away for too many hours.
And you're still doing that because you intend to 100% it, right?
Yeah, I think the DLC comes out this week, so I'll be jumping back in with the Valhalla DLC. The first Season Pass DLC, which is annoying. They're having a Season Pass sale with all the Ubisoft games, and Valhalla is the only one that's not on sale.
Of course not.
All the others are. Watch Dogs is, Immortals is. Immortals is on sale. The whole Season Pass is out now. All the 3 Season Pass DLCs have been released, and we haven't even had one Assassin's Creed Valhalla DLC.
Speaking of that sale, let me just shout outs to one particular game there, because Control Ultimate Edition with all the DLCs, with the next-gen upgrades, and with the base game for the Xbox One is on sale right now.
Yeah, I think it's only about £16 in the UK or $16.50.
Maybe I'll get it. Maybe I'll
got the Alan Wake DLC, hasn't it? That literally, I'm not bothered about. I want to play Control, but I was never bothered about rushing out for it. And then they were like, "There's some Alan Wake in this," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like you literally hooked me in, literally just like that, like Alan Wake. I was like, yes.
You want to convince Ash to buy your game? It doesn't matter. Mortal Kombat. We have Alan Wake, and Ash will buy it. It doesn't matter.
I'm a sucker like that. Yeah. Like when they announced like Ash from Evil Dead in Mortal Kombat, I was like, I'm gonna have to get that one day. That's Dead by Daylight got Ash from Evil Dead. I bought it day one. I was like, I don't even play Dead by Daylight very often, but I bought it day one just so I've got Ash from Evil Dead. And when the Evil Dead game comes out, I'll probably buy that day one as well. So.
I'll buy it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Nice.
Sensei says hello, Alucard, as well.
Hey, what's going on, man?
But like, besides the Dirt 5, the Falconeer, I was able to play a little bit as well of the Medium. And so far, I'm liking it. Like, I'm not a very, how can I say that, survival horror fan. Like, I hate jump scares. And for what I saw, the Medium is a survival horror game that is mostly focused on the atmosphere. And I love the atmosphere, how it goes. Like
Yep.
for example, there's this stereo movie called Thing with Kurt Russell,
Oh yeah,
and
great
it's
movie.
really great, and it only has, for what I remember, only one jump scare, and the rest of it is pure atmosphere. That's why I
Yeah.
love it. And
Yep.
and for what I'm seeing right now from the media, I think it's going to be mostly atmosphere, and I'm really enjoying it.
I mean,
If the game, I
I've
don't
not got any
like.
jump scares out of it. I think I've played two, and I'm trying to think where I'm up to. Do you know what? I don't know where you're up to. There's a chase bit. There's like a whole chase sequence where you're hiding and stuff like that.
Okay, I know what you mean.
So I've just done that. That's where I stopped playing last time I played it. There was only like one jump scare before then, and it wasn't even a proper jump scare. It was something so tiny that you're just like, oh right. So, but I agree with you on the atmosphere and stuff like that. It's really good.
Yeah.
Really well
I think
done.
Resident Evil 7 and 8 both have that atmosphere. So good.
But
Holy
would you say
shit.
that they are more atmosphere focused or jump scare focused?
I
For
thought they
what
were
I'm
more
seeing
jump
from,
scare, in my
They
opinion.
are, but the atmosphere is just amazing though.
oh
they
yeah,
got
for
both.
sure.
Yeah.
So the video
sure, for
playing
sure.
right now is the intro to Resident Evil Village that came out today or yesterday. So apologies
Yesterday.
if you don't want to see the story. You're going to see a little bit of it right now, unfortunately. It's only about half an
But
hour. It's the first half an hour because that's really only what I got to play. But it is more jump
but
scares than the medium. I agree totally.
yeah, for sure. But like, enough about me because that was it for me. So what about you, Alucard? Anything good
Oh, I've been
that you
playing
played?
Red Dead Redemption 2 so much.
Ah,
I got back into it because like I played it and then I stopped playing it for some reason, and now lately I went back into it. I'm like, I don't know why I stopped. Maybe I had to get past a certain point, but I started the game over again, and wow, the game, if you get deep into it, you can learn how to hunt really well and fish, and it's like a learning curve. You have to learn how
Yeah,
to do
and it's
everything.
beautiful as well.
Yeah, and like there's creepy things that happen, like random events. Um, there's one like bounty hunting. You could take bounty contracts, so you could
yep.
do almost anything you want to make money, and you could be like a total scoundrel, or you could be like a decent human being. It's kind of like your choice, but robbing banks and like you can rob trains whenever you want, and it's kind of ridiculous. And like coming across like a couple, they were actually brother and sister, and they were like these inbred hillbillies, and they drugged me. I got knocked out, they threw me in a pit, and I guess I was supposed to die, but in that part, like, you don't die, but they thought you were dead, so you go back to their house and you just kill them and take everything from their house. So it's like that. There's stuff like that that happens in the game where it's unexpected. I didn't know that was going to happen though. But it's kind of like I kind of figured that something bad was going to happen, but I was like, I'm just going to do it anyways because they invite me into their house. I was like, oh, okay. You know, I mean, something bad's going to happen because who does that? Who invites strangers into their house? Nobody really does that, off the
Fair
street.
enough.
So, but like, I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't know what, but stuff like that in that game, it's like, so that's what I've been playing mostly. And then, I just played Indiana Jones from the original Xbox.
Is that the
And
one
that
that was
game's actually-
free on
Yeah.
Gold?
It's actually pretty good for an old game.
Nice.
It's like old Tomb Raider.
It's held up well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not like. I mean, the auto HDR helps make it look a little bit better.
Yeah.
Wait
I
a
mean,
second,
graphic-wise,
wait a
it's
sec.
not great, but it's not bad to play.
It's not bad.
No, wait a second. What do you mean? It's a good game. It's a good game, even though it's an old game. What do you mean by that?
It has
because-
old mechanics. So
Yeah, but
know.
like so does Banjo-Kazooie, and that game is.
And that's why it
amazing,
hasn't had a
doesn't matter.
sequel in a long time.
yeah, well, some
Yeah.
of these games
But
that
go
like
fuck yourself, okay?
some of like the 3D games that don't age well, but this one aged pretty good, I think. It wasn't all like blocky. like I've seen some PlayStation 1 games where they look like geometrical shapes,
Look
like
like ass.
blocks and triangles, But this the character models were actually decent enough where you actually could see their face, so it's like it's not that bad.
Nice.
But it's just the camera angles, I guess, are annoying. That's how it was back then. But besides that, it's actually a pretty good platformer, climbing, and it's just like Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider basically copied that, but so it's like playing the original Tomb Raider.
Nice.
That's what it feels like.
I miss the old school Tomb Raider.
Guess who joined us?
Yeah, so the Jin has just joined us, so that's what the noise is, if you can hear. He's coming.
Yeah.
He's loading, I think. Hello, he's here.
Hello. How are you doing? Yeah, nice. We are a bunch of professional podcasters, as you know.
Yeah.
There we go. No worries. That's our daily routine here. Oh my god. Mate, mute your mic right now, please. What the fuck?
So, Alucard, have you played the Red Dead Online?
I played Red Dead Online. I want to go back to it now since I love the story so much. But Red Dead Online, it's very similar where it's like the same world and the same areas and everything. And then you can do anything you want in that game as well. Rob people.
Nice.
You can specialize in bounty hunting, or you can be a hunter. Searching for artifacts and like treasure is so much fun in that game. That's one of the biggest things is exploring and finding random treasure, and then crazy people. Like there's a serial killer that I found. He leaves notes, and by his victims, and you have to try to find them. It's like all this stuff that people don't even know that's in the game until you play it. That's not it. That's not in the reviews. I
will be talking about that in a little bit as well. Red Dead Online.
Would you say that is better than GTA 5 Online? Or
thing is, like, it's limited, like GTA Online you could do, it's more modern. It's so people relate to that more, probably. The Old West.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't really care for the Old West, but
it's been also way longer than Red Dead Online.
Yeah.
It gets a lot more content as well, doesn't it, GTA Online? Every sort of month they bring out something like rocket, planes, and all sorts of weird stuff. Whereas Red Dead Online, it's just sort of the same sort of stuff over and over and over.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the kind of start of the Industrial Revolution, so I guess they could add some more things into there. They did have Gatling guns back then, and stuff like that. You can get a semi-automatic shotgun. So I mean, they could do other things, I guess. I think they can change things up if they really wanted to. They could add some more advanced stuff in there and not break the lore. There doesn't always have to be riding on horses, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The Red Dead Online, I don't think is that popular, but it is interesting because I played poker with a bunch of random people on the Red Dead Online. That was kind of interesting. But I also kept on getting killed by somebody, and that kind of ruined the experience. I was like, I just want to do this mission, and this guy kept on killing me, like over and over again.
It had a lot of problems when it launched, though, Red Dead Online, didn't it? A lot of hackers and a lot of racists and the sort of stuff you don't want in your online multiplayer game, to be fair. Like people spawning like unkillable skeletons everywhere and all that, and literally people dressing up as KKK people and chasing black players around or people with black avatars around. I mean, they should have thought that was going to happen because the human race is disgusting when it comes to online gaming and stuff. So you think they would have done something about that.
That's it's kind of the risk you take sometimes with online gaming, though. Yeah, unfortunately.
I don't know if you guys played the first Red Dead Online. Oh, also, apologies for being late. The first Red Dead Online.
Do you mean the Red Dead Redemption one? The first one?
Yeah, the first Red Dead Online had a much better online multiplayer in terms of there was 2 lobbies you can go into. One where it disabled auto lock aiming on, and another one where it had it. So if you got, like I was saying, where you get somebody who's got a better weapon, they've leveled up, played it more, they just lock on and kill you in a couple of shots. There was an option on the other one where you could turn that off, so they had to actually aim and hit you and be good at the game. It didn't matter what weapon you had. And that version was so much better. I think the first one I enjoyed a lot, and then when they said they were doing Red Dead Online for the second one after how good GTA Online was, I got really excited, and what they launched was pretty bad compared to it was worse than the first one, which is hard to do.
What have you been playing anyway, bud?
Me, sorry guys for being late. I was just gonna say the first Red Dead Online had auto lock and non-auto lock for every game mode, so you could go into the ones like the capture the flag, the team deathmatch, and have auto lock turned off. The second one doesn't seem to have that.
Nice.
Which is really annoying.
I like the zombies in number 1. The first Red Dead, I like that. And you didn't actually have to buy the game. You could just buy the expansion and play the expansion, which was fun.
It's the Undead Nightmare, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the fact that
had all the characters from the first.
Number 1 looks literally next gen when you play it on a modern console, like a Series S or X. All the upgrades they've done to it, the FPS and the resolution, it just looks beautiful. Even though it's not Red Dead 2 level, but I would buy Red Dead 1 and still feel like I was getting a current gen game. Do you know what I mean? It's so good looking.
In my opinion, Red Dead 1 can be easily that at least best game for Xbox.
We're missing the one game pinnacle cowboy game last gen, and that was Gun, and that was ace, and it was like a launch title for the 360. And it was
the one with the yellow cover, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Imagine Red Dead, but it wasn't open world. It was more linear. You had like level based things. I love that
like
game.
The original Red Dead
Revolver, wasn't it? Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah, Red Dead Revolver, which was a great game. Remember the one you chase a guy across a level who's carrying a coffin on his back as a shield, just trying to shoot him from behind. It's such a bizarre game, but it's great.
Yeah, but if people haven't played Gun, give Gun a try if you can get hold of it. It's on 360 and I think it's on original Xbox. It's a bit more arcadey as well, but I really loved it. It was just great. There was I'm sure there was an achievement for like scalping 100 people, so you would just go around cutting everyone's heads because that's how you got the achievement. I swear to God, that's what I remember from it.
Fair enough.
To go back to your question, what have I been playing this week? Seems I turned up late. I finally finished Rain on Your Parade because I didn't get a lot of Xbox time done last week. Thoroughly enjoyed that. That's quite a good little indie game. And then I've moved on to, and I'm sure I've bored you guys enough with it already, Narita Boy, which is probably the best game I've played this year so far. I am in love with this game. It's just everything about it. The music, the main menu has got the best theme song apart from Halo I've ever heard. And I often find myself when I'm setting up my stream and I've got the Xbox on, I've hit start recording and I'm still sat there bopping along to the main song, not realize I've been recording for a good 30-40 seconds singing to myself. It's just, it's so catchy. But the gameplay is incredible. And one thing it does well is you find a lot of these platformers, you have jump, dash, and then a couple of hit moves. You unlock new hit moves on this, like the uppercut, where you press up an X and it looks like, Ryu throwing a shuriken type thing up in the air with a sword, but that makes you jump higher than you normally would. So you can use that to then dash and reach platforms. So you have to use your attack abilities with your movement abilities to reach certain parts of the map. So you're attacking things even though there's nothing there, otherwise you won't be able to. It's bizarre. It's hard to explain, but it's brilliant. It's one of the best games. That is the best game I've played this year, and one of the best games I've ever played. I think I'm loving it. It's so
what
good.
Game is it? What's the name of the game?
Narita Boy.
It's on Gamepass as well.
Oh yeah. That game has a really like a retro, like 1970s look to it, right?
It has such a cool effect.
80s, 1980s.
Yeah, it looks like you're playing on a CRT TV.
Yeah.
So it curves the screen when you're playing. So as things move, they bend across the screen, and it's so convincing. As someone who's in his mid-30s and used to watch a lot of CRTs back in the day, you look like you're watching a CRT. It's incredible.
It's kind of like when I tried it and I was like, this game is so weird. I think I'm gonna play it more.
Yeah, it's on my list to play.
Yeah, the first hour you're kind of like they're trying to explain these deep stories, but it's about how programs have babies and fall in love, and then someone's invading. You're like, this is so weird. And a couple of hours in, I meet the giant computer toad, and I'm like, this guy is so cool. What's my mission? What am I doing next?
But it doesn't have photorealistic graphics, though.
It doesn't. They make jokes about that as well. They make jokes about how his sword is only 9 pixels across. So.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Photorealistic graphics. I think we are the only podcast who play Shotgun Farmers. So.
Podcast versus podcast Shotgun Farmers tournament. That's what needs to happen. The challenge is out there.
Beyond the Box Nation? Where's Gaming Beyond the Box Nation to make a new tournament about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't want to play Fight Night. We want to play.
Ideas.
We want to play Shotgun Farmers.
Shotgun Farmers.
In fairness, we're pretty good at it. I think we'd hold our own against most other podcasts.
We do better than the Halo tournament.
We got Slayer with a rifle.
I don't know where people come up with these ideas for games, man. Like, there's some creative people in this world.
Honestly,
like their minds are out there.
But like, Jenna, would you say that Rain on Your Parade and Narita Boy are part of your projects of 10 minutes playthrough reviews?
I think they're both going to make an appearance. Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I did my first one, which was what was it? Edith Finch. The Edith Finch one I did, and in fairness, it's actually got quite a lot of views compared to what I normally get in my first 24 hours, and I've had some good comments on it.
That game's so good.
Yeah, well, I played it for 10 minutes and reviewed it, and I found it a boring walking simulator where nothing happens.
It doesn't
so
at
gave
all.
it a 4 out of 10. And then
just so good. Just such a fantastic concept.
Yeah, so this is basically you're doing that in response to the stuff online where some reviewer said you don't have to finish reviews to review. You don't have to finish games to review them because that doesn't matter, and it does. It does. If you haven't got to the end of the game, it could have a terrible end. It could have missing content. It could be glitchy at the end. It could have an amazing end, which makes up for a subpar middle or a subpar game. Whoever thought you didn't have to... I mean, I understand, right? If it's a quiz game, if it's an MMO, if it's this, if it's that, there's certain things, sports games, you don't have to play all of it. You get the gist. But if it's a story game, if it's any type of normal game that's got a beginning, a middle, and an end, you've got to at least play it from start to finish, as long as it's not like 500 hours. And we wouldn't expect
what about like The Witcher, which is like freaking... Who knows how many hours it takes to beat that game?
Then they should start reviewing it earlier. Don't push reviews out.
But you could just give focus to only the main story and ignore
everything else.
The side missions. Simple as that. But this is something that I really hate that happened. I think it was 20 last year or 2019. When was Battletoads? Last year?
Last year,
yeah.
And there was a reviewer on Metacritic that gave the game like 5 out of 10 or 4 out of 10. And in his review, he said that he didn't finish, don't want to finish, and that's it.
I mean, if someone doesn't enjoy a game or they cannot get to the end, that's a fair review. But if you were reviewing a game like Returnal and you're giving it 9s and 10s out of 10, but you haven't even got to end, how can you give it a 10 out of 10? Because after about 6 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, you could be fucking sick of it. There's some games that I've absolutely loved when I've started playing them, and by the time I'm halfway through, 3/4 of the way through, I'm absolutely sick of them, and I'm like, this is shite. It's
the guy who put this comment up about reviewers don't need to finish games or what have you. I actually put... sorry, someone's letting the dog back in the kitchen behind me. I put a comment on this saying, if you played the medium and you didn't play the last 2 to 3 hours, you've played less than half the game. Because that's where the game picks up, the story happens, everything happens. And he liked my comment. So this person who's saying out there you don't need to finish games to review them, liked my comment saying, well, unless you finish this game, you can't judge the game.
Yeah, so, it's stupid. It's stupid.
Because there's no consistency anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's why I've
since
started this stupid series. I'm going to play 10 minutes and I'm going to review games. You guys are going to join me on some of the co-ops and we're just going to,
yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
satirical as if we've never played the game before. Just go at it as 10 minutes. Like, I can't wait to do Halo CE because nearly that first 10 minutes is walking to find a Magnum and cinematics. So,
well, I said Sea of
Yeah.
Thieves is going to be great because you spend 10 minutes getting all the food and stuff and getting on the boat. That's it.
yeah.
So it's a resource management simulator. Disgusting. 3 out of 10.
Yeah, 1 out of 10.
35 is
I play better resources.
Too much water.
Too much water. I did that during my Eden Finch when I was walking through the forest. 6 out of 10. Too many trees.
20 trees.
Oh god.
Sensei's put in the chat they want to push the narrative so they can push out an incomplete review for the sake of being the first reviewers for like clickbait traffic, and that's true as well. I mean,
Yeah.
there's like we do reviews on this channel. You do reviews, but you play through it to the end of them and then do a review. I do the same. I mean, there's a couple I haven't finished with Stellatum, but it's the same gameplay all the way through. And I did mention that at the beginning of my review. I said I haven't got to the end of it yet because 1, it's going to take me a while, and 2, it was giving me like Chandler claw hand from holding the pad and down. And the other one was it was on sale that weekend, and I was like, I wanted to tell people about it because it was on sale, and it seems silly to do it after it's on sale because people would probably go for it because it isn't a bad game. So in those sense, you can't play. Like I say, I didn't play all the way through, but I did let them know. But on all the other games I do reviews for, I'll get to the end of it, at least the main game. I mean, I don't always play everything because we've got lives. Some games are just bad. Do you know what I mean? So
You mean you didn't play every single thing that Freddy Spaghetti has to offer?
Oh, I did. I enjoyed Freddy Spaghetti. It's one of my best rated games on the reviews at the moment, which you can find on our YouTube channel. Don't you worry. But yeah, it's such a stupid thing to say. It just you lose all credibility, basically.
I think you're right about Stellatum because it's not a story-driven game.
No,
it's a simple arcade, like twin stick kind of shooter type game. So you know what you're getting after a certain time, and you know it's going to ramp up in difficulty. But a game where, you know, like the Returnal, for example, where each boss is different, the story evolves over time. Unless you finished it, you can't review it. It might have the most disappointing ending of all time. And like you said, none of these reviewers seem to have any bugs, which was crazy. Not one of them hit a game save bug or an update
it's a
bug.
magic, that, isn't it? It's like reviewing Game of Thrones, the last season, apart from the last episode. You'd give it a fantastic review.
Yes.
But if you didn't watch, and then when you watched, well, the rest of the season was good apart from the last episode, which was absolutely tripe. Well, in comparison to the last episode, and if you, it's
I
like
disagree. Like the first episode was really good, but the other episode.
But it's, I mean, in like comparison, like everyone
trash.
hates the last episode. If you didn't watch the episode, you would give a lot better
for
review,
sure.
wouldn't you?
Well,
It's just what it is.
He invented time travel just to make it quicker, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got stuck north of the wall on a little patch of land. There wasn't ice. And she flew half the planet to get there before the ice had frozen over in an hour or two. It's like, yeah, you guys are just wanting to wrap this up now and move on to something else. And
they got jobs for doing
ticking.
Star Wars, didn't they, or something at Disney? So they sort of
and then they didn't
up.
get it anyway. They got cancelled because of how bad their job they did. Which is another lesson. Don't rush your stuff out if your future depends on it. Kind of do your best job.
Yeah.
But I think what I've seen of Returnal, it looks like a great game. However, MCC was a fantastic game, a great package, loads of great games, you know, like in terms of all the multiplayer and the things. And it had a few issues, obviously, with bugs and the matchmaking didn't work on certain playlists, and that got absolutely hammered in reviews for the fact that it had these bugs and things didn't work. Whereas this thing is literally bricking consoles and losing all your progress, and they're like, no, never seen it, didn't hear about it.
Cyberpunk, they took Cyberpunk off the PlayStation Store for less. I mean, Cyberpunk, it crashed, but you could actually get through the game. I mean, Returnal, you couldn't get through some doors, from what I can see. They've literally put a tweet out saying, please don't play till we patch this. I mean, give me my money back. Don't sell it.
Wait,
The tweet
That's
they showed of
crazy.
somebody who had to restart their game and spun it as a positive, saying light shines anew. And somebody was tweeted saying, I lost all my progress, all my game saves, but I've restarted, now I've got further. And they shared that as a positive thing about how great it is. And it's like, no, you've pissed this person off. I think you've misread this tweet completely.
If a game's broken, you can still enjoy it. That's fine. It can still be a good game.
Wait a second.
I've got a friend who's playing Cyberpunk, and he says it's the best game he's played in the last year. But he says, there's bugs, and it kicks me out at least once a day when I'm playing it. It'll kick him out every 2 or 3 hours. But he still loves it. But he doesn't say it's the perfect game, and he won't deny it. He's just like, there is bugs, but I still play it. I enjoy it. But you've got to say for what it is, it's a buggy mess. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same with all games. Here's
the thing. Are we going to change the whole schedule because we are already talking about Returnal Issues?
I don't know.
Yeah. We'll talk about Returnal. We'll talk about Returnal now because we've already mentioned the issues. We may as well
talk about your games.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about me.
We'll talk about your games. Fair enough.
But I'll say I haven't got a PS5 at the moment. Returnal is not my type of game. I am not a roguelike player. I don't want to die and lose an hour of progress, 2 hours of progress, longer. That isn't my cup of tea. I want to games for me are to de-stress a lot of the time. I mean, I don't mind playing some sort of games that stress me a little bit and I get angry and I shout. You guys have played with games where I've probably effed and jeffed quite a lot. But I don't want to go into a game that is just pure sort of stress. And I don't want to have to worry about having to start from scratch. I don't play Dark Souls. I've tried Dark Souls. I've tried Dark Souls 2. I tried Demon Souls, the original, and I can never get into them. They're just not my type of game. But it does look nice. I saw it in action, all the bullets flying around and stuff. I thought that looked pretty cool. But like I say, no one seems to be online calling out what it is. It's got all these issues, which to me sound pretty bad compared to other games that have had issues. Yet they're all just being swept under the rug, whereas other games would be crucified. I would rather have had Craig look like Craig than the issues Returnal's having right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just say
but
it.
I never. Here's the thing. We have no idea what is the big problem, what is causing all.
But yeah, but
people are blaming the developer, but the developer is blaming the PS5 itself. I never saw something like that.
That's what I'm gonna say. They've just sort of it's the hardware.
It's like Outriders again, where the developer blamed the publisher. It wasn't me, it was that guy.
Here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. I think Returnal has a really nice concept. I think Returnal has a really awesome gameplay. After all, it reminds me of Crackdown and Record, and I love those games. But still, I never saw a publisher blaming a developer and a developer blaming a publisher.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be an issue if they ever make a sequel. It might not happen.
Well, it hasn't sold well in the UK physically. I mean, this is physically, but there was a guy who normally posts up about sales numbers, and he said it wasn't doing very well at all. Pokemon Snap absolutely destroyed it, which was expected. I mean, literally, they could stick a Pokemon sticker on a shit and sell it on Switch, and it would be number one that week.
Enough.
But
fair enough.
I mean, that doesn't include digital, which, like I say, we are in a digital future now, so I don't really look at physical as the full picture. But
UK is 90% now, isn't it? 90% digital. So.
To be fair, we're still only just getting out of lockdown and stuff, so a lot of people are just buying digitally anyway. So, but it is a good way to at least get some sort of rough idea. If they're that low compared to other games that have been out in the same period, then the digital may not be as high. Do you know what I mean? And they haven't touted any figures. If a game does well by Sony, they tout those figures to the bloody moon. They're everywhere. But when it's not, because Death Stranding never had any numbers announced anywhere. It was only the big first party stuff that they ever announced the numbers for when it does really, really, really well, like God of War and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Go on, Lucar.
I mean, you definitely can see when a game does well or not. It definitely that's when they talk about it. But
Yeah.
I don't know if it matters. The thing is, like, I know that Sony, they care about the Metacritic score. So since it has a good Metacritic score, they're probably happy with it.
But like, would you say that it's already guaranteed that it's going to have a sequel?
No, because there's definitely not a guarantee, because after what they said about being a hardware problem, I think there's definitely issues there.
Shit the bed a bit, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because
But
here's
if the game sells well, which I don't think it did, but if it sells well, then they probably will make a sequel. But I have a feeling that it won't be an exclusive though anymore. It'll be multi-plat.
Like comments about how well the game is sold, but only from physical versions, stuff like that that you just mentioned, but not the digital bots. And here's the thing, I never saw it. This is so crazy, because here's the thing, how's Mark just the developers of Returnal, they released a patch and on Wednesday, and the patch just fucked the game even more. Somehow it fucked even more the game, making people have to re-download the game, and with a lot of something went wrong pop-ups on the system, crashes, and the game has almost no saves, so really a nightmare. And here's that they done. The patch 1.3.3, that is the one that I mentioned, has been approved, and we are reverting back to 1.3.1 until it's fixed. We are fixing the issue now, and a new patch will be published in a few hours. All users affected by this patch need to re-download the game. Our apologies. And after that, they made a new tweet saying, so to be safe, don't start the game before the upcoming patch is available and download. Like, they bought a $70 game and they can't even play it.
So, quick question though. They're saying to install the game if you've been affected, but if you're not a PS Plus subscriber, you won't have cloud saves, so you won't have your save file either. So you'd buggered if you're a non.
Yep.
And like I've just put in the chat, we're gonna have to start the new hashtag free Cyberpunk from the PlayStation Store, because if Returnal's allowed in, we should have Cyberpunk back. It's only fair. It's only fair. If we're allowing one buggy mess, we allowed all the buggy messes. So bring Cyberpunk back. It's only fair.
And like, don't get us wrong. This is we are not the objective here is not to trash about PlayStation or something like that. We are just telling what happened. And like, probably they fixed some of the problems, because they said during these tweets that happened May the 5th. And here's the thing, they said that they will release a new patch in a few hours. I still have no idea what happened. If most of the bugs are already fixed, we still have no idea. But this is just a big mess, and we hope that they can fix this soon enough so everyone can enjoy it. It's a $70 game, God, for fuck's sake. But like, here's the thing: another problem that from another game that has been going on that I just heard about it is with Forza Horizon 4. Recently, Forza Horizon 4 has had a 7 gigabytes patch, something like that, and people were not and some people have been having some big issues to start the game. They try to start it and it doesn't go, or when they do start it, it shuts down their console. I haven't had any problems at all, but still, be careful. Be careful, and let's hope that Playground Games fix that as well.
I heard it's now been fixed earlier today, but yeah, it was a big one. Some people black screened as soon as you tried to open it. You have to turn the Xbox off by the power button and hold it till it reset. And every time you try to launch the game, it would just put you in a loop where you get stuck at a black screen. So yeah, it's a big one. Apparently, the Windows PC version was like that for months, wasn't it, before they patched it?
Really, for months?
Yeah. So the Gamepass on Windows version was broken for a few months. But then the Steam version launched and was fine, and then eventually they fixed the Windows Game Pass on PC version. So
Bloody hell.
Clearly not a priority whilst they were banging out the Steam version, I imagine.
No.
That's fucked up.
No.
One thing I want to say, just before we move off from Returnal, is it does look like a fun game. I get what you guys are saying in terms of how it plays, and the gameplay looks great. I follow Broken Gamers and KidSmooth on Twitter. I imagine you guys have seen them as well. And they were having a bet about where they would score on Metacritic. And so KidSmooth is more the Xbox guy, Broken Gamers is more the PlayStation guy, and he bet he would be at least an 80, or in the 80s or 82 or something. And he ended up winning the bet. But then when he finished the game, he said he would give it a 75. So he knew it would score higher, and then he reviewed the game lower himself. But yeah, those two and the group there, and they crack me up. They're really good to follow online. But no, it does look like a fun game. It's just, if I was playing it right now, like Outriders, I've parked Outriders and I've extended it for a couple more weeks just because of the issues it's having. If I'd have bought Returnal for 70 quid, I wouldn't be happy at all having to buy a game and go, yeah, I'm going to leave it a month and a half just to make sure it works.
Yeah, I think it depends. The sequel might depend on if it gets returned. If there's a lot of returns from it, people returning the game, that's going to be a problem.
You mean return of the return of the game?
Yes, Returnal of the return game.
Some people have tried the digital copy and they've refused refunds.
Wow, that's bad, man. Like, I'm sorry, but Sony is just, I don't know who's pissed me off more, Sony or Nintendo, man.
Well, we'll get into Sony's weird, creepy practices in a little bit when we get to that topic as well. So,
but first of all, are we good with the Returnal?
Yeah, I think we can put a line under that for now.
Let's just hope, and we are being serious here. We hope that they fix problems and that everyone that enjoys the game and paid for the game and bought a PS5 just for that game, we hope that you are going to soon be able to enjoy the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a good developer. It's their first big game. Let's just hope that it gets fixed soon and they can move on to the next big project because it looks fun.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah, it's still fun to mock now and then. But
I always say when a game first comes out, you might want to wait a couple weeks until you buy it. That's what it seems like to me, man. I don't know. Unfortunately.
Halo Infinite, you ain't playing that online day one. You're going to have to campaign or nothing.
Speaking of it, if Halo Infinite doesn't cure cancer, to be a flop. That's it.
I love that narrative.
If Halo Infinite doesn't fix Returnal's bugs, it's a flop.
If Halo Infinite doesn't get us 400 views in an hour on this podcast, it's a flop.
That's it.
There we go.
Oh, we've had Bob join us.
What's up, Bob?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
KY, well, man, I must have lost my KY at that orgy I was at.
Bob left his glasses there, didn't
he? What just happened? There we go. We just lost any chance to be sponsored in this episode. Thank you so much.
Sponsored by KY.
Yeah, KY.
Maybe.
And Toys for Bob.
They're a slippery company to do business with.
Toys for Bob.
Don't tell them I said this, but Astroglide is better.
I like Second Skin. It's pretty good.
Right, we're going to move on because this is a topic we don't need right now.
Moving on.
I'll get on to what I've been playing.
What have you been playing, Ash?
Sorry, Bob, we're missing you on this one, so you should have turned up on time, but it's life. This week, other than the couple of games, I played a couple of review games that were short and sweet or terrible, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire PC. If you want to see all my reviews,
such a good game, am I right?
Oh, it's bad. It's so bad.
Oh,
but if you want to see, if you want to see the reviews of them, I have uploaded them onto YouTube channel. You can find them. But the three sort of main games I've been playing this week. So, Dragon Quest Builders 2 on Gamepass.
Cool.
Great, I love it. I've played Dragon Quest Builders 1 on the PS4, and I'd never got round to 2, so I'm glad it's finally out. Plays like 1 did, but with more like a coat of paint and sort of upgrades and stuff. So really glad that's finally here. On that topic, it was like Xbox and Square have been teasing more Dragon Quest games will come to Game Pass or Xbox in the future as well, with some of their back and forth. So fingers crossed we might get Heroes or some of the back, like the older Dragon Quest games or something, or even the MMO one day. Fingers crossed. Second game I've been playing a lot of is Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory or Memories, which is the Kingdom Hearts rhythm game. I'll put a video up of it after this Resident Evil clip plays through again. Yeah, that's not too bad. If you haven't played Kingdom Hearts, it sort of goes through every single game, or not just the main ones, all the side ones that were on like PSP and whatever consoles they were on. There were so many different spin-offs, and it sort of narrates it in between the levels with videos and stuff, and explains the whole story. So for me, who hasn't actually played through all the Kingdom Hearts, you can kind of play along. But it's basically just a rhythm game where you run through stages and you're attacking enemies to the beat, basically. I'm quite enjoying it. I've put in quite a few hours. I'm about halfway through the story mode. If you like Kingdom Hearts and you like that sort of music, you'll really get a kick out of it even more. It's full of the Disney levels as well. So, like, you play like Lion King, and there's like Simba's one of your helpers, and then there's like Aladdin and Beast and all that sort of stuff. So there's it's cool in that sense. It's a bit weird though, because some of the button presses don't always work. So you'll be pressing to kill something, and when you've got a counter, it's so annoying. You'll push a button, it just doesn't fucking register. So out of playing about 100 levels, I've only managed to get a perfect on one of them, because I'll get like all the way through, and then suddenly it'll just stop connecting with my buttons for like 2 or 3 hits. And I don't know why that is, unless I've got like special hands and they're not working. But I was playing a game and I did it this one level about 10 times to try and get this perfect, and the same point at every time, no matter how I tried it, it wouldn't hit it. So I don't know whether it's just badly programmed or it's slightly laggy. Yeah, Stellatum's made me like this, so like I can't hold the controller to press the buttons correctly. But the weird thing is, the buttons you press are the not the triggers, the thumbnail,
the bumpers.
The bumpers, which I don't think are very responsive compared to actual pressing the buttons on the remote. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
So yeah, it's a weird one. It's because like the bumper for left, bumper for right, A button for middle, and B jumps. It's very strange, but it's oddly satisfying. You can just sit there and play for like an hour at a time and just literally mong out to like really sort of peaceful music, just clicking away. Do you know what I mean? So I've quite enjoyed that. And then the big one, like I say, I picked up Resident Evil Village today, and I only managed to get about 35 minutes in while my kids weren't at home. It looks nice. I mean, I don't think it looks as amazing as some of the people online have been saying, but it looks really good. I wasn't going to get it because I don't think it's Resident Evil. It doesn't look Resident Evil. It doesn't like the sexy vampire ladies, werewolves and stuff. It's not Resident Evil to me. But then I keep seeing all these pictures and videos of it, and I'm like, I'm just going to get it, and I'm just going to pretend it's not Resident Evil and just play it as like an action horror game. And so far, it's so good. I mean, I got to the point at the end of this sort of like 35 minutes, and I actually got wrecked by like, you're in this room, and then suddenly there's like 20 enemies, and I was like, where do I go? What do I do? I've got like 7 shots, and that was it. And then I got wrecked by like a 10-foot bloke with a big axe, and I was like, right, well, that's the end of that playthrough for today. So I'm gonna obviously I'll jump back in over the weekend and continue, because I'm literally just like my autosave is just where that fight starts. But it looks cool. It works well in first person, actually. I didn't think it would work well in first person because I haven't played 7. So I quite enjoyed that. And I did like that it also recapped what happened in 7 briefly at the beginning for those who haven't played 7, which is nice. So I kind of roughly get what happened. But yeah, I have no idea what's going on. I don't get how it's hoped to do with Resident Evil, then Chris Redfield's there right at the beginning being a dick. I'm sure it'll get explained later, but there's no zombies. I've just been attacked by a bunch of werewolves in a creepy village. Do you know what I mean? It reminded me more like a weird sort of Van Helsing game or anything. It might be a cool
like
Van Helsing game.
Yeah.
Would you say that those are the werewolf vampires and not just like biological
I don't know.
biological sickness that turn them
Yeah.
into monsters, and then it reminds us of werewolves and vampires?
It must be. It probably is. I haven't got that far yet. So for me, it just looks like I'm being attacked by werewolves and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's
I
no
know,
explanation. I mean, all it said was in Resident Evil 7, they been infected by fungus or something like that, mold, and that had turned them all a bit doolally, which is why they were all like they could take so much damage in Resi 7, and they were all a bit mad. So I don't know if this
Like
is
The
like
Last of Us?
yeah, basically evil mold. And then your
Yeah.
wife gets infected with mold, and then you've saved her and you've injected her with the antivirus. But you've got a kid in this one, and I
Yeah.
assume the kid is something to do with it. And your wife just start the game. You guys who've played 7 probably know more than me, but she just seems dodgy as out. Like she's a bit one screw loose, and like she's gonna murder you. And then, as you've seen in this video here, in like 5 minutes into the game, they just like jump through windows and just blast her away. It's like, all right, she's not gonna. She'll probably come back later as a bad guy or something. I've no idea, but I'm just playing it as like a creepy horror game. The lighting's really cool. You start off and you've got like a torch in this like water, snowy area, and you can hardly see anything. I mean, if you're looking at the video right now, it's some weird werewolfy guy who's like bit my hand off, like 2 of my fingers off and stuff. And then you get the first aid spray and you just spray it over your hand where you ain't even got a finger, and that's fine. Like, oh, I'm all right. It's now I've put a herb on my missing finger,
Yeah,
and I'm
you
good
can-
to go.
You can clearly use a gun. That's it.
But it's cool. Like I say, I don't want to give a good impression of it because, like I say, I've
Cool.
only played 35 minutes of it. But my aim is terrible and stuff. I'm not used to that sort of Resident Evil style gameplay in first person. So, yeah, it's cool. What did annoy me though, Resident Evil Reverse, which has been delayed indefinitely, auto downloads when you install it. So you end up with this 10 gig dead weight on your hard drive, so you can uninstall it later on. But yeah, I've just uninstalled it because it's just a waste. But I didn't realize till it had installed. Basically,
Have you still not played 7?
no, I was never interested. I was never interested because
Man, the very beginning of 7, you're going through walls and under floors. It's kind of like you're one of the people from the Children Under the what is the movie?
the
Children
borrowers.
Under-
Children
Yeah.
on the stairs. Yeah.
Under the stairs. In first person, you're like trying to get through this house, hiding from this family of maniacs that's looking for you. It is amazing. So I would recommend it. If you like the first person atmosphere of 8, 7
Yeah, I've got
awesome.
7. I just never played it, and I picked it up when it was cheap. But
Yeah.
it didn't appeal to me as Resident Evil like diehard that love the classic style and the zombies.
Right.
It
Yeah.
didn't appeal to me as a Resi game, but I wanted to go into this one, and I read online, I'm sure someone from Capcom had said, this one you can jump in if you haven't played 7 and you won't really have missed a lot. So I thought, do you know what, bugger it, I'm going to try it. So,
So
Yeah,
it's
like,
not a Halo game.
No.
no.
Gotcha.
I think
When I played-
Go on, Lucas.
When I played Resident Evil 7, like I'm gonna go back to it, but I'm gonna try to finish it. But it was like playing. You were inside of a horror movie, like Chainsaw Massacre. That's what it felt like. You ever seen Chainsaw Massacre
yeah.
movies? It's about a hillbilly, crazy cannibal family. That's what it. That's exactly what it is. That's
Well-
what it felt like.
Well, 8 starts off like a horror film like that, with like people like getting ripped through the floor and the roof and stuff like that, and it feels like a monster horror film.
yeah.
Right? There's something out there, and there's like a pack of them and stuff. And like I said, I enjoy that. It doesn't feel like a Resident Evil game to me, but
It does.
it's not a bad
It's-
game. I
much
definitely want to
different.
keep playing, and there's been a few jump scares already.
But here's the thing: it is not Resident Evil. It's Biohazard. There we go.
Biohazard. Yeah.
There we go. There we.
I just want zombies, and I want like massive
like,
monster plants and stuff, and I want labs.
But like,
Yeah.
go play Resident Evil 1 all over again.
I will. A Code
Simple as that.
Veronica.
Go.
This is starting to sound a lot like Halo now.
Isn't it called
You don't like
Biohazard?
this?
In Japan,
Resident
it is.
Evil 7.
Don't they carry the Biohazard name in other countries because
Yeah.
because Resident Evil is something against their culture or something?
Oh, really?
No, actually, the original name is Biohazard, and then for what I remember, Biohazard is the name of a famous band, stuff like that, and
They
then
couldn't get the
during
rights
this
to it,
time,
could they?
and then they decided to change it for Resident Evil.
Oh, it's interesting. I didn't know that.
But the original name is Biohazard.
Which makes more sense.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does make more sense.
Yeah.
The first
Resident
one is
Evil.
based in a house full of evil.
Yeah,
So
that's
all
about
learned
it.
it makes sense for the first game. Second one should be Police Station Evil.
I'm not attracted to the vampire lady though.
I don't know why anyone. Have you seen that picture of her holding Master Chief up? That's going round.
Oh yeah,
He looks like a short person. He looks like a little kid, doesn't he?
He's like a
Oh
dwarf.
my! Did you see the Thomas the Tank Engine mod?
Yes.
I was
Oh
like,
my
that
God,
looks
Barney the
scary.
dinosaur.
It's absolutely terrifying. That's
Yeah.
what I want. They should
Yeah,
put that in the game.
They put the Thomas the Tank Engine face on the big vampire lady, and it's just
Yeah.
it's
Oh
scarier.
my god!
Honestly, if that
Oh
came
my
through
God.
a wall at you, you would shit yourself. It's deadly.
I would-
Have you all seen the spoof video going around on YouTube of the action figure of her?
Yeah,
No.
I have.
Oh,
It's amazing.
Oh god.
It is hilarious. They start out by flipping her around and showing her butt, and then showing
Yeah,
how tall she is, and oh, dude, it's hilarious.
two guys in their 40s wrestling over an action figure. It's brilliant.
Yes, it's great.
Oh, I've seen that now. I'll have to have a look. Yeah.
Yeah, you
That's
should. If you
weird.
find it, share it on the channel on Twitter because it's great. Like
I will.
I get what you mean. This whole thing of people being obsessed with it, I don't get it.
I don't
However,
get it either.
a lot of the people on Twitter cosplaying as her. I'm for it. I'm behind this message. You know?
I mean, if she wants to sit on me, that's fine. But, yeah.
We do
What have you
have
seen?
women that listen to this, so I apologise for
I'm really. I'm
Alucard and
worried.
Jenna
What is going
today.
on?
It's
I'm
just
really
descending
worried.
into madness, isn't it?
What is going on with this episode? Like, holy.
If you get a chance, watch Skillup's review because he's talking about the characters and the enemies, and he starts talking about her, and then he goes off on a tandem, and in one bit he's like, and then all of a sudden he pulls out a knife and he slips her dress, and her dress falls to the ground. He's like, "Wait there, what the hell am I doing? I'm having sex force again," and then he has to get himself back on track. It's brilliant.
Oh.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Shall-
It seems to
shall
have
we-
driven.
Like I was going to when we thought about let's talk about some Resident Evil 8
Yeah.
impressions. we I wasn't expecting to go like
It's
this.
okay because
I was
it's an
expecting to
adult.
let's talk about the graphics and how the
Yeah.
performance goes and the atmosphere and like
She's got a great set of graphics on her.
yeah.
Oh.
I think Capcom knew what they were doing. She's not even really the main character, apparently. They kind of just pushed her to the front.
Yeah, I'm
They-
sure
they
I read
saw
that
they had
she's
a
not
good
in it for very
reaction.
long. She sort of leaves
Yeah,
quite quickly.
She had a
in
good
the
reaction,
non-offense.
and they were like, "We're gonna keep this going." The memes
Yeah.
are going, the
That's
social
funny 'cause-
media behind her.
I thought it was like the boss, but she's not. She's not the boss. It's Madame Miranda is the boss, right? Madame Miranda.
Is that the other
Spoilers.
one?
Yeah. She looks like another sibling. I don't know what the hell she is, but I don't know.
I just would like to point out about Resident 8 that Capcom, when they announced how the game run on, they put it that on the Series S with ray tracing at like what is the 1080p and 45 FPS, and then on the quality modes will be 1440p and 30 FPS. No, it's I don't know the resolutions, but I know that with ray tracing the FPS would be 45 and without ray tracing would be 30 FPS. Turns out that the game with ray tracing runs between 50 and 45, and without ray tracing, runs 60 flawless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
it
did the
runs
same
really
with the
smooth.
Series X. They said Series X would be
Series
45
S.
with ray tracing, and it's a flat 60.
Yeah, but yeah, that's bizarre. Like it
They
seems
undersold it.
that I was even going before during that time they announced that Capcom still needs to know how to work with this next console, but it seems that they are learning with the Series X and also with the Series S. Of course, they
Yeah.
still have a long way to go to learn to use the full potential of both machines, but still, this is a really nice upgrade. I wasn't expecting to run flawless 60 FPS. That's
Mhm.
really nice.
Wasn't the Xbox One X has the same performance as the Series S? Is that true?
Yeah, but
The
like
graphics card has the same teraflops output, but
Yeah.
the CPU and the RAM and everything is far superior in the Series S.
What about? I
Yeah.
mean, the Resident Evil 8 game. It seems like, isn't it? They're both the same.
not
performance.
necessarily the
You
on
don't get ray
the
tracing, do you, on the last gen?
yeah on the
Oh, okay.
on
So it has
the
ray
One
tracing for
X.
the S.
Yeah, like on the Xbox One X, I think 1080p, 60 FPS, and 4K
4K
30
30
FPS
without ray tracing. No ray
without ray
tracing.
tracing in both modes.
Okay. So the
But like
S has ray
really,
tracing.
yeah, ray tracing,
Alright.
and it has a really nice performance. Not as much on the ray tracing mode, but 60 FPS on that game that looks amazingly good on even on the Series S is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've done a
Like
good
I
job.
gotta
Have you
I gotta tell
seen how?
like
What is?
I
Oh, go ahead.
no worries, you can talk. Sorry about that.
No. Like what the ray tracing? Do you see a big difference? Have you switched
Like
back and forth?
for
I
what
haven't
I
switched it
saw
off on
from
mine, but it looks fantastic. I wouldn't. Why would you want to switch it off? If you're gonna have a nice shiny
Yeah.
It's got a lot of light in this game. There's a lot of candles, a lot of lanterns, a lot of torches. I don't want to make
Yeah.
it look crapper. I don't care for the
Yeah.
extra like 10 frames a second. I want the full ray tracing goodness. So I
I
just
Yeah.
think
full melt on it.
I think
I
for the
would like
Series
like
S, you may want to drop it. So for, if it ranges for 30 to 50 and it keeps bouncing between, you may just want to get like a nice locked 60 and drop it. But
no,
Series
it's
X, yeah, I get what you
not.
mean. I wouldn't drop it.
But here's the thing: it never gets to 30. It always stays at 50 to 40 FPS actually
Yeah.
with the
I just
ray
want to
tracing.
see how what ray tracing really could look like because I have not seen it yet, really, in a game yet.
Dirt 5, I think Dirt 5 and Gears 5 has ray tracing or
Gears
something.
5 doesn't know.
No, doesn't. Only Dirt 5. Then
Watch Dogs has it, and it has a great version of it. It looks beautiful.
Watch Dogs has it. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition only for the Series X and PS5
Mhm.
has it. So you get some options.
Does I forgot what's that horror game? Medium, doesn't that have ray tracing?
No,
No.
because
Damn, I don't have any games.
So
it's running two versions of the world at once, so they took out ray tracing, I assume. Because I think it was originally announced with ray tracing, but then they quietly dropped it. But it is what it is. What I'll do, I'll send you a list after podcast of what I found with what is, because there is quite a few. But we could be talking about that all day, and we'll never get anywhere as usual.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Different elements, isn't it? You get ray traced reflections, ray traced illuminations, ray traced global illuminations, ray traced audio. It's like just anything they do. So the one will say ray tracing. You're like, oh, this doesn't look that good. Oh no, so it sounds better. It's like that's not what I see ray tracing as. You're reflecting things that are not on the screen. That's what ray tracing is to be. But it's not. There's like so many different versions, such as how the lighting works and stuff. And if you do one of those things, they'll just mark the game as ray traced.
Yeah, which is a bit misleading, I think. But
Bob, Bob's just not caring at all. He just got his controller and he's ready to, okay, fuck you guys. I'm going to play some
Oh
more
no, I'm
Outriders.
here. I'm just, chilling like a villain. Glad to be here.
He's loading up Watch Dogs to check out some ray tracing.
So we'll jump on to the next
Uh,
topic anyway, just to move the conversation along. So
Quicker ones, actually.
yeah, we've got a few quick stuff to go through. So there's been a few Game Pass announcements for May. So we've got Just Cause 4 on cloud, console, and PC. Now this has been on Game Pass before, but this is the reloaded version. So I think they tweaked a few things or something. There's Outlast, cloud, console, and PC. Red Dead Online for cloud and console. So that's the online multiplayer, which I thought was already on with Red Dead, but obviously not. Steep, which is a snowboarding and sort of like extreme sports game on cloud and console. You've got the new FIFA game, FIFA 21, on console and PC through EA Play. Dragon Quest Builders 2 on console and PC. Final Fantasy X and X2 HD remastered on console and PC. Remnant from the Ashes on PC. And then the one I'm most interested in coming to cloud, console, and PC is Psychonauts 1. Now,
Finally.
this is
Finally.
interesting because they haven't the videos they've shown look very HD compared to the version that is currently on Xbox, which isn't HD. It's just bog standard OG Xbox. Now, this leads to me to think that this could be like the one that's already out on PlayStation 4 and stuff, which is the upscaled version. So there's nothing new added, but it's sort of like the upscaled it. It runs in HD and it had trophies. So hopefully, because this looks like a new version, because it's on cloud and console and PC, I'm hoping that this is a port of the original with a slightly better like up-res graphics and achievements. If it's not, I'll not complain about it too much, but I would rather have a version with achievements and like HD graphics over what's available at the moment. And it makes sense, and as the PlayStation already has that version, do you know what I mean?
One thing that just happened during this week, Psychonauts 2 is available to pre-download on the store.
They've took it off again now.
They took it off
Yeah,
already?
I think it went off.
But like they just decided to show it and then that's it.
Yeah.
And then after that, Double Fine, they just made a tweet showing off some
photos
new
of it.
screenshots of the new game. So I think the game is close to finally a full.
Yeah.
It'll be E3,
Or they-
E3
Really
week,
excited
I
for it.
think. It'll come out with E3.
It'll be one of
Yeah.
those, and it's available to download now.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those announcements they love to do.
Yeah, I think
that's
what
nice.
it'll be. But it looks
That would be
great.
nice.
And if you haven't played the original, it's coming out in about a week's time on Game Pass. So I highly recommend playing it, even if it's the one that's just the OG original Xbox version. That's currently still available online by backwards compatibility. I did post on the tweet where they did the announcement trailer and everything. I said, is this going to be like the upscaled version? But no one's ever responded, so I'll keep my eye on that. But
It looks pretty good for an old game, though, I think.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it looks fantastic. But in
Yeah.
HD, it looks a little bit better.
Great
Yeah.
game. Did
They'll
you
have
guys see-
I'll probably have auto HDR on it, so they'll make it look better.
Did you guys see the Double Fine movie on YouTube they did a couple of weeks ago? The Amnesia
Oh,
Fortnite.
yeah.
I've
I
got it saved.
saw-
I haven't watched it yet though.
It's
I
so
only
good.
saw
Two-
parts.
So they do 4 games, and they get 2 weeks to make the game. Different teams. 2 of the games they showed look like they would be really fun, and they've done an updated video for one of them, and they were talking about how we might see more of it
Nice.
over the next future. The game is called The Way Down. The idea is you're like a god in Greece. At the end of each level, you have to choose one power to get rid of. So it makes each level harder because you're getting weaker as you go through the game, instead of most games where you pick up new abilities and new powers.
Mm.
Nice.
It's interesting. It's really good. And the other one was called Armored Slug, which is basically a snail. But yeah, it's great.
For some reason, I don't know why like that. I know that the game mechanics are different, but why you just say reminded me of another Double Fine game called Massive Chalice, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I know they are completely different. Though while you just said that the mechanics with Massive Chalice, but I think I like this. But I think it reminded me because of this idea of you being a superior being. You have to make choices that will affect all the people living in there, something like that. Really,
I don't know if anyone else other than me and you have played Massive Chalice, but it was such a fun game. Trying to
we
keep
are
the
the
houses
only ones
alive, marry people off, and get ready to
We are the
defend
only
against an enemy.
I haven't
Just saying,
played
we
it.
are the only ones who bought it. We are the only ones who bought it. Simple
But-
as that.
What you're explaining makes me want Microsoft to release a Black and White 3 because they haven't done anything with that licensing forever.
I was
sounds like a
watching-
God simulator.
I was
Well
watching Mav, Fun Speculation, do a live stream yesterday. They were playing Hood,
Nice.
and that game looks really. I can see 4 guys teaming up and really having a good time on that game.
Yeah, that's my next game. I think I'm going to pick up is Hood. I
Are you
didn't even know
suggesting
it.
something?
And that game looks awesome.
It does look
Yeah,
awesome.
it came
though.
out 2 days ago, midnight.
Yeah, and it's only £25. It's a budget game.
Yeah,
And it's got
That's
a full sort of next 6 months of DLC for free as well. They've got a roadmap, so
Nice.
So
you
is it
just stealed
just
it for me.
is it pure co-op game or what
it's
is it?
player versus enemy. So you're
Oh, okay.
basically there's like, from what I can gather, it's like you're into your teams and you're doing stuff, but there's like AI people in the same area that can get in the way and fight with and stuff like that. So
Mm.
it looks really interesting. It looks really cool. Maybe something we can look at in the future. Hopefully, if one of us or 2 of us or something get it, and we can do a proper sort of review of that or some gameplay. That'd be cool.
For sure.
But while there is news of new games coming to Game Pass, there is also the sad news that some games are leaving Game Pass in May. Now,
Oh yeah, just
go on
one
quickly.
thing, just to finish. Conan Exile is going to be added to Game Pass also.
That is true. Conan, the actual devs
Yeah.
announced it, didn't they? But it wasn't announced by Game Pass yet.
Out of nowhere, they just said today we announced that Conan Exiles is coming to Xbox Game Pass soon. We are excited to be opening the doors to the savage lands of Hyboria to many new PC and Xbox gamers. Really nice to see.
I'm really looking forward to that because I love the Conan MMO made by the same people, and I've wanted to play this for a while. I've got it on PC, but I've not got it on Xbox. Gina, this will be good for your 10-minute reviews because it'll just be dick length simulator because literally you can give yourself a massive wang and then run around naked with it flapping in the wings. I'm sure they did a dev diary about that before it came out, about how you can just have your tallywhacker on show permanently for the whole game.
Could you just do that the whole game?
Yeah,
Do
you can
have
just run
to wear
around in the
clothes?
nudes. Yeah.
Not enough pube
Oh,
options.
my
4 out of 10.
You're gonna give the character a massive wang, and then you're gonna just crouch and stand up.
Yeah.
Stand
Uh,
up.
You
The
go
next
on there
10
and
minutes.
live out your fantasies.
That's it.
I'm just gonna run around and chase people.
Naked. Oh my god.
But that game though, like those kind of games, they start off so slow, and that's why I have trouble with those games because they could be so boring until you like
Till you
get
build a
everything
house
that
and
you.
that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough.
Why do I-
Those games are tough.
No, when
to,
everyone's
get
naked.
into.
It's fine. Everyone's naked, doing a chopper. Be fine.
Here's the thing. Slayer right now. Slayer won't be joining us today because he has some stuff to do today.
He's
But
getting
I
naked.
think that. But I think that after he watches this episode, he's gonna be glad that he didn't join.
He sat on Xbox getting achievements to beat me. We all know it. Just say it out loud. He's upset I beat him 2 months in a row. He's not letting me do it this month. So he's probably got like 10G today. He's like, I'm not losing this week. And he's like Rocky montaging it, but just with like Xbox games. That's it.
I'll
Did
tell
he
you,
unfriended you?
playing Red Dead 2, like that game's hard to get achievements. Like some games are tough
Yeah.
to get achievements. So it
Did he
depends.
unfriended you again?
No, he's not unfriended me yet. No. Oh. Did anyone ever play the Conan game on the 360? It was like an action
No.
slasher game.
I
It
don't know.
reminded me of like a knockoff God of War. It was like a third-person hack and slash, but literally all you did was run through the level saving like naked women tied up, and I was like, I can't believe this is a game, and they made it. It's so violent. Imagine God of War, but like violenter. It's just madness.
It's more violent than God of War. Wow.
Yeah, it was so bloody. Literally, they were like hacking people's heads off and stuff, and it was madness. I quite enjoyed it. It was just like constant action. But yeah, we'll jump onto the games leaving Xbox. So there was quite a few announced. FIFA 15, 16, 17, 18 are leaving EA Play, so they're also leaving Game Pass on console. No biggie, you've got FIFA 21. What do you want? NBA Live 18 is leaving. No biggie, you've got NBA 21. DayZ was announced it was leaving, and then the developer said it wasn't. So now it looks like that isn't leaving now, DayZ.
The game's so boring.
My dumbass paid for that game, so I don't care if it leaves or not.
To be fair, right?
Boring.
You bought DayZ. I bought the World Z or the War Z on PC, which is a DayZ knockoff, which is even worse.
Wait. There's What was the other one called?
It's like the War Z or the World. No, there's World War Z on PC on console now, but there was a couple of years ago when DayZ was like new. They brought out like there was clones of it. Not like there's knockoffs of like battle royales and that. There was knockoff DayZ games, and this was like the War of Z or something, and it was funny. It was an alright to play, but it's just sort of got left to die very quickly. So don't play that. The developers are just money grabbing bastards. Dungeons of the Endless is leaving console and PC. Final Fantasy 9, not 19. Final Fantasy 9 is leaving console and PC. Currently at sale at 50% at the moment for the next couple of days. The best Final Fantasy game, buy it because it's better than 7, and I'll fight you for it. But it's great.
We already discussed that I think during our third or second episode.
Yeah, so grab it while you can. It's such a good game. You will get 20% off after that period with Game Pass when it leaves, but at the moment it's 50% off, so save a bit of money. Hotline Miami is leaving PC. Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2 is leaving PC. Plebby Quest of the Crusaders is leaving PC. And the biggest blow is Alan Wake's leaving console and PC. And you should buy that and play that if you haven't, because that's probably one of the best 360 games that was released in that generation. And I'm sad to see it go, but maybe it means there's a remaster coming in the future now. They're owned by Epic. It wouldn't surprise me. Or not owned by Epic, they're partnering with Epic for games and stuff going forward. It wouldn't surprise me if we see an Alan Wake HD remaster come out at some point on new consoles and PC.
Oh yeah, they should.
And then, next topic, we also got the PlayStation...
PsNow.
Yeah, PsNow announcements. Now, there's only 3.
You want me to go?
Yeah. Knock your son out, mate.
So, we got, for the main new game, PlayStation Now, we got Streets of Rage 4. Great game. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We got Neo. Also a nice game if you enjoy that Souls-like vibe game. And we got Jump Force. What can I say about Jump Force?
Never played it.
Okay. The gameplay during the fights is okay. It's quite simple, but like that game was a huge disappointment for it. And Jump Force will be available until August the 2nd of this year, and Streets of Rage will be available way longer. It will be available until November the 1st.
So Jump Force is a 3-month exclusive, which is very odd, like a 3-month period.
What do you mean?
No, but you know what I mean. It's like it's a 3-month period. It's not going to be on long.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it unless you're really into your anime. I wouldn't recommend starting Jump Force because it's long and boring, and everything in between the fights is terrible.
The only thing that is good are only the fights, but the rest of it, the main campaign, the menus, also the lobby where you can walk around, it's just horrible.
Yeah, and there's no English voice acting like American voice acting. It's all Japanese, which sucks. And half, if not more than half, of the characters are now DLC So you have to,
Okay.
if you actually want to play all the really cool characters that they've released since, they're all paid for. So
All the side races you have.
Wow.
there's all
So here's
sorts.
the thing: if you're going to buy or play Jump Force, only play for the multiplayer. That's it. For nothing else at all, because the rest of it, it's a lot of shit. Simple as
Yeah.
that.
So Streets of Rage looks ace though, and it is ace. We played it on Xbox. It's good fun. Glad
Yep.
that those guys have got it because we've had it on Game Pass. And Neo looks good. I've not played it ever, but I've heard really good things about Neo. So they're not bad additions. There's not a lot of additions though, as usual to PsNow. But Neo seems to be sort of probably a year-long deal because they haven't announced an end date. But it's just odd 3 months for Jump Force. It's not like it's a new game or a good game, like a AAA game. It's very strange. I mean, we got GTA 5 originally, and that for like 3 months, and I understood that, but Jump Force, no.
That's
Right?
probably because I bet you it was expensive to make. Because don't they have all the characters from like all these other games, right?
They're all from
Yeah.
the anime and stuff like that, from different anime.
Yeah.
So
That's probably why.
maybe, but it's still. It under-delivered after such a cool trailer and stuff like that. It under-delivered in the final game, unfortunately, for me anyway. I played it on PC. I'm glad I never spent money on it on Xbox. So, yeah, we'll move on now to some good news. I'm just going to jump off. I'll be 2 minutes. So if you guys want to crack on with the awesome news about the FPS boost, I'll be back in a second.
But yeah, so we got a really not good surprise that just happened. That it was Microsoft and Xbox FPS boost for 70 games.
That's awesome.
Like 70
Yeah.
plus like FPS boost. Of course, we are not gonna talk about all of them because holy fucking shit, there's 70 plus of them. God damn it!
Yeah.
And to talk about all these details, that would be a whole episode for that. But that's really amazing for what these machines are capable of. What
Yeah.
games are you mostly excited, guys?
Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it available only at 60 FPS or 120?
I think it's 60, I believe. Yeah.
Nice. What about you, Gina?
You know, I really want to try Anthem again. Everyone's jumping into Anthem at 60 frames and saying how great it is. So as I never finished a game before, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
just
that
giving
game
it a
looked.
blast before
I
it died.
tried that game. I thought the game looked awesome. I love the flying mechanics and everything.
Yeah.
The only problem with Anthem was that it never finished the story it started.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, fair enough. It also never finished the hype it started.
No.
It never will now.
It's
And
too
they've said
bad.
they don't
Never
make it
will
better.
after all. It's
Yeah.
bad.
It's a shame. It's a big shame. It's a shame. That's
Yeah.
It
about
was
I-
it was
I'm
a
not-
looter shooter that didn't want to give you loot. He wanted you to pay for everything. So
Look
you
at
kind of fall apart there.
look at sad Bob over there. He's just so disappointed because I know
Yeah.
he loves is that. But any games you are really excited with the FPS boost, Bob, from the list that they showed up?
Was Recore one of those?
Yeah,
Yep.
it was.
It was.
I actually did like Recore. I understood how it was kind of repetitive, but I thought it was a very interesting premise.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back and play Recore at 60 frames a second.
I've never played that game, so now I gotta try it now.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, Recore is really good. Of course, you are gonna face some bugs here and there, and it has some
Yeah.
repetitive stuff. But still, the mechanics of the mix in the combat system and the platforming is really well done, in my opinion. I just really enjoyed it. Recore. Well, and I think that people had decided to make a petition to bring FPS boost to Recore,
Yeah.
something like that, right?
Or-
A petition to bring the Fear games to backwards compatibility. Period.
Yes.
That would
I'm
be
on
nice.
board. Let's do it. Let's march.
That would be nice. That
Fear
would be nice.
1, Fear
That's
2,
smart.
Fear 3, and Fear Files. Please let me play it. I want to put my 360 away. Let me play them on my Series X.
We're marching to Phil Spencer's house tomorrow.
Another one is Far Cry 5. That's got a boost to 60 frames.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I just bought that game, so I'm looking forward to playing it at 60 frames
One thing that I'm actually I still don't know how that works. After all, I'm not a developer, but I still don't know why some games over there are not capable of running at 60 or 100 frames per second on the Series S also.
Oh. They are, but a lot of Microsoft doesn't want to step on anybody's toes, so they want to make sure that they have the developers approve to do it. So a lot of them don't get the approval. Like Dead Space hasn't got it because apparently they're going to do something with a re-release of that in the future. And there's a few other games that aren't going to get it because the publisher and the developer have told Microsoft when they were contacted, no, it's a good possibility that in the future, before a sequel, we will re-release that with upgrades.
I know some games can't be done because the animations are tied to the frame rate.
Yeah.
So there's only 30 frames of animation per second for the character. So if you boost it to 60, all the animations are juddery.
But for example, why Anthem available at 60 seconds on the Series X, not on the Series S? Would it be because of this animation problem? Or is it because the hardware isn't capable of running? Because I think it is capable of running at 60 per second. With no
it should
problem
be, yeah,
at all.
It
I
should be.
think it's really straight. Okay, I do understand Battlefield 1 not running at 120 frames per second, Series S, but when the game is not even capable of running at 60, that's when I think there's a problem. Something strange. I'm not saying that someone is trying to fuck with the Series S, and I still don't know if it's a hardware problem and I don't think it is because for what I saw from the Series S, it's a really impressive hardware for the purpose of it. But I'm just curious, to be honest. Simple as that. Why some games are not available for the FPS with the FPS with the Series X.
Well, again, it goes back to the FPS boost is a low-level software technique done by Microsoft themselves in-house. It's the same with Auto HDR. It's a low-level software adaptation by the machine learning that they've got working correctly so far. Because we all know that the tools aren't in their infant stage anymore, but they're still not fully matured. So we're getting some Auto HDR. In the future, we'll get some VRS where the machine learning will be able to detect whether or not those pixels and those textures really need to be eye-popping if they're right in front of you or if they're off in the distance.
Yeah.
So it's capable of it. It's just whether or not Microsoft has the license to do it. I mean, they are contractually obligated, and if they piss the wrong person off, they may not get the next title in the series from a certain developer.
Or maybe it's one of the things where they had to choose one console at a time, Like maybe they're working on the S version of it. I don't know. Still.
Yeah, maybe in the future we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I do see what you're saying though, because it is odd.
It's curious, right?
It is.
Why is the Series S? Because 4 teraflops of RDNA 2 is supposed to be equal to 6 teraflops. So 6 teraflops, that was the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Well, then why isn't the Series S playing the Xbox One X version of games? It's got basically the same GPU power and a much better processor.
Yep.
Why is the Series S stuck with 1S types of games? And the 1S, if you look it up, the 1S was only 1.5 teraflops.
Cool.
Yep.
So why is the Series S only running 1S
I don't know.
with 4 teraflops and a Ryzen CPU? It makes no sense to me.
I don't get it either.
But mysteries of life. We'll see what happens. Maybe in the
I
future
think-
there's going to be any upgrades or something like that.
I think there will be. I think
They will
they're-
add.
yeah, everything's getting better. Like they're constantly updating and like upgrading the hardware because they're still working out bugs. So I think I'll
Well,
get there.
I will tell
I
you-
can only hope. I can only hope so.
We're early adopters, right? That's what they said.
When
No.
For sure.
when
No.
VRS and DLLS
Yeah.
are fully matured, there
Yep.
will be nothing you can't run on your console at 4K at 60 frames a second.
hmm
Because I mean it'll be easy to do because those textures and those pixels will automatically super sample and downgrade when they're not important. And that is going to pay great dividends to your frame rate. This is possibly a console that could be around for a decade because Microsoft waited for RDNA 2, and yes, they're at a disadvantage because of the tools because they waited, but we will see that paid in full.
The thing
Nice.
holding
On
the
both
Series
consoles,
X
would
and
you
S
say?
back. So what's holding them back at the moment is they've got the new chipset, and apart from the new Metro coming out, which is said that you need GTX and ray traced GPUs, other games coming out won't. They won't cut off that huge part of the PC market, so you're not going to be taking advantage of all these new features, these new tools, if they're a third party, because it's more work. Whereas first party Microsoft games over the next year or two, you're going to start seeing, the velocity architecture, because not one single game has used that yet. As much as they hype it up, and they showed that thing a couple of weeks ago at the developers show where you can get the same game running for 20% of the RAM usage and load it 5 times as fast and everything. No game actually uses that. That's something they said themselves. No game is using this, so they need, until PC is at a level where a big enough part of the market has these next gen equivalent graphic cards and CPUs, it's not going to move on to that point. So I think Bob's right. These consoles are 10 years or more, because it's going to be about 4 or 5 years till PC reaches a level where the vast majority have that level of RTX cards, and then it can then start using these features as the norm.
Yeah, I mean, don't get
Nice.
me and Gina wrong. Yes, is the 3090 and the 3080 more powerful than the Series X? Yes, it is. But the Series X is using GPU tech that is literally in only 2 cards on the PC right now. So those advantages that can be taken advantage of, we're not seeing it yet because it's not mainstream yet.
Mhm.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Good point.
Yeah.
That you said that's why we're having Bob here, because he's talking about.
I was gonna say something else too, but I completely had a brain fart, and
You can't
was
say
lis-
good things about
I
you,
was
and then
like-
you just fuck it up.
well, I was thinking to myself while Gina was talking. I was thinking to myself, all right, when Gina gets done, this is what I'm gonna say. And then I was like, hold on,
Oh,
what
no.
Gina's talking about is really cool. Hold on, I gotta listen to it. And I listened to it, and it was gone.
When you brought up
Mhm.
Metro Exodus, it's going to be 4K 60, right, with ray tracing
Yeah.
on Xbox Series X. Dude, I can't wait. I can't
That's
wait
what it
to see
was.
this. Yeah,
That-
is that what it was?
No, when he said the new Metro,
Yeah.
mentioned the new Metro. Is the new Metro going to be built around DirectX 12? Because the Series X is completely is built on DirectX 12 ray tracing.
Who knows?
Yeah, what I meant by that was the one Alucard said about the new update for Metro, where
Okay.
they've gone back and redone it.
Metro
to be-
Exodus, yeah.
yeah,
It's
so on
a
PC, it will
remastered
only
version, isn't
run.
it? Really?
Yeah, it will only run on certain graphics cards that have ray traced hardware on board. It won't run on any other graphics card.
So that game already looks amazing. Holy shit.
But like, just to finish the FPS boost topic, that is awesome. We are really excited to play. those games. Ash, what is your favorite game out of the list that you are mostly interested
Well,
playing
I'm
now
playing
with
Assassin's
the
Creed
PS?
Ezio Collection, so I haven't played it since that update came out. So I'm going to jump on it and have a try, just to see how good it plays. But other than that, I really like the fact that the Tomb Raider has it. Well, Shadow at Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider Definitive Edition have got FPS boosts. So I've been meaning to get them. I've bought all of them. And I've been meaning to jump into them and play through them. So that's probably the ones I'll jump on at some point and get the benefit of. But one thing that stood out to me, like looking at the list, I know you guys were talking about Anthem when I wasn't here. Why the hell is Realm Royale 120 FPS? It literally is dead. I used to play Realm Royale. It's awesome.
What?
They haven't brought an update out for it in a year and a half now, and it's a battle royale game like Fortnite. It's had no battle passes, it's had no DLC, it's had no updates. They've literally left it to rot. Why are they giving it an FPS boost? Why even bother? No one plays it. The devs don't even give a shit about it. Why waste time adding that? It's just
I
like,
don't know.
that was
doesn't
easy
make
to
any
flick a
sense.
button on just to add to a number on the list.
Yeah,
I-
I think. Yeah,
I've never heard of it.
I
Realm
think
Royale
you're
is
right.
really good. It's basically imagine Fortnite, but if it was in like medieval times with like WoW graphics, and then when you kill someone, instead of them dying straight outright, they become a chicken, and they have to run around as a chicken for like 15 seconds before they. And if you kill them as a chicken, they die outright. But if you survive for like 15 seconds or 20 seconds, you come back alive basically. So it added a bit of fun to it. Because you literally turn to a chicken and you have to like waddle off and try and hide. But it was a good premise. It played really well. It had really great graphics. It had a constant stream of battle passes, and then suddenly nothing. There's been no updates to the map. There's been no updates for battle passes. I mean, it just baffles me because it's been abandoned by the developers. Yet for some reason they've agreed to have a 120 FPS first-person shooter boost.
Well,
First-person shooter FPS boost. I always say that.
That's why Microsoft did it, because it's been abandoned, and the developer said, "Yeah, we don't care about it. Go ahead."
But no one's going to
Yeah.
get to play it. So the last update from the developers, the last update, like official update, was February the 4th last year.
Wow.
And then
Damn.
the last actual post by the developers was October, and that was just saying you can now buy a horse again. Do you know, like when they rotate mounts and stuff. And it's a shame because I used to play that load. Like you jump out of a plane, but then instead of just having horses, I had like a giant winged 4-legged bat thing as my mount. It was ace. I loved it to bits. I played it way too much, and then they just stopped providing to it. So everyone's left because there's no progress in it.
Well, Titanfall 2 doubled its numbers, didn't it, after it had its FPS boost? So maybe they're hoping this will do the same. And, there'll be 20 chickens on the map instead of 10 or something.
That's it. Because otherwise you're just running around playing with no one, and it'd be the most boring game ever. But
Sounds like my childhood, man.
that's my rant
joking.
over.
Moving on.
That's my rant over. I saw that when I first saw it on the list, and it angered me. Like, why waste a good spot when you could give it to a game that people actually play and the devs actually have? It's not like it's a single player game. I can understand if they hadn't updated it. This is a live service game. So
I don't know.
So shall we move on?
yeah, let's go on to the next one, which is
So Discord.
yeah, Xbox shit
This
the
is
bed on
good.
that, didn't they?
Yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. There we have it.
So if you've been living under a rock and this is the first time you're hearing about it, a couple of months ago, Microsoft was in talks, it was announced, to purchase Discord. They were in negotiations for the purchase of Discord, which is a social media sort of platform, mainly aimed at gamers, communities and stuff like that, video chat. Literally our video right here and our audio is all streamed through Discord. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yes, it is.
It's not a social media site sort of like Facebook where you put all your pictures of your kids on and what you've had for dinner and stuff. It's more of like it's like the upgraded forum is how I see it. It's like the next level of forums.
Really?
And Microsoft were all in talks to buy them, rumored to be $10 billion which is fantastic because if they could integrate Discord with them, it would be great. Then they said, no, we're not. It's all fallen through. And then this week, Jim Ryan trotted out and was like, announcing PlayStation's new partnership with Discord. So it says the popular communication service will integrate with your social experience on PlayStation beginning early next year. So at PlayStation, we're constantly looking for new ways to enable players around the world to connect with one another, form friendships, communities, and share fun experiences and lasting memories. It's in this spirit that we're excited to announce a new partnership with Discord, the communication service popularized by gamers and used by more than 140 million people every month around the world. Together, our teams are already hard at work connecting Discord with our social and gaming experience on PlayStation Network. Our goal is to bring Discord and PlayStation experiences closer together on console and mobile starting earlier next year, allowing friends, groups, and communities to hang out, have fun, and communicate more easily when playing games together. To bring these experiences to life for our players, Sony Interactive Entertainment has made a minority investment as part of Discord's Series H round, and it just says they're all looking forward to working together. And I think it said somewhere they'd put in a few $100 million. Was it 200 million or something like that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The
Seems to
same
be their
investment
favourite
they
number.
made with Epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sucks. It doesn't literally shut the book and cut it off for Xbox, because it, like I say, this could just be them implementing some features onto PlayStation, which could come to other consoles in the future. It could be great for crossplay, but based on what we're going to talk about later, that's probably not the case at all, is it?
Oh my god. Holy
Is it me or does Sony love a £200 million investment? Like 200 million to Epic, 200 million to
that might be all
Discord.
that they can sign that off
We're-
without having to put it up to
Okay.
up the ranks and get approved.
Yeah.
That's probably the lowest,
We-
like the
we
highest
get
so
amount.
many
That's the
charge
most-
developers to make AAAs. We're giving them 200 million a year more. It's always 200 million a year for each figure.
It's like their first and best offer, 200 million. That's it.
Okay.
It's just like Scrooge McDuck. Like I'll pay you in money bags. That's
Yeah.
it. Simple as that.
Okay. You guys ready for the rant? Because
I'm ready.
Go on. It's gonna be good.
I'm gonna let this
Can
is
I
the
make-
KY Bob rant right here.
Can I make some popcorn? First?
Hey,
Yeah.
hit pause and go do it.
I can pause.
Okay, so Jim Ryan, you are a lying son of a bitch. What you are doing is you are partnering with Discord because PlayStation Network party chat is garbage. It sounds like people talking through tin cans connected with string. And you've went to Discord, you've got this partnership with Discord because you don't have an app, a game bar, or anything on PC, and that's the way you're going, just like Xbox is, and you're afraid of the backlash from your fan base. That's why you're partnering with Discord, so that people can party chat on PC, on the PlayStation Network, and so you have better quality. That is why you're doing it. And to be honest with you, there's not a big difference between quality on Discord and Xbox. I think Xbox was doing it to actually do it, not really improve quality, but I think Discord was going to be their answer to Zoom.
Yeah.
With
Maybe.
Office 365.
Yeah, 'cause
And
Skype's
I understand
terrible.
that. Exactly. So yeah, Sony did this because they are focused on exclusive games and not really player experience over their network. And so they're going to use Discord, which has great audio scrubbers. They're going to use Discord to improve their player connectivity.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally
was
believe
expecting-
that.
I was expecting a much more aggressive angle, but okay.
I
can
Calm down a little bit because I got a lot of valuable things in here. I didn't want to tear anything up I was going to, feel bad about.
Fun Speculations
You-
just said, hey, everyone in
You
the
see
chat.
Microsoft.
So they've just joined at the right
Nice,
time.
Thank you.
Just as
Hello.
K mentioned him, he slides straight into the chat.
Thank you so much. But like
It was
you see
all good, I
Microsoft,
promise.
but like you see Microsoft you need to put the Fear games on backwards compatibility, so this man here, when he gets an angry rant, he can destroy his 360. Simple as that, with no fear
Yeah.
at all.
Live.
But yeah, it's such a it's literally, this is what Microsoft every now and again, and Xbox, they do a goof. They did it with the live in like the increase. They've shot themselves in the foot by not picking up Discord. They're gonna in a year or two's time they're gonna regret it massively, or they end up gonna buy them for 3 times as much as they were gonna now. Do you know what I mean? And it,
Like when they could have bought Twitch again.
yeah, I
They
mean,
passed up on
Yeah.
Twitch.
it's just
I mean-
it's a goof, and especially I just hope that with Sony, this isn't them paying to keep it off other platforms, because if it is, it's such a scummy move, because it's something that shouldn't be kept off other platforms. This should be something for all platforms to improve crossplay and gaming across all consoles, all devices, phones, computers, tablets, because it works on it all. And that Discord to me is how we're all going to play and chat with each other in the future when we're all playing on different devices, especially when you can now play loads of games on your PlayStation and your Switch and everything together. You know what Sony's like. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to sound nasty. That they've just paid for another 6 months by the looks of exclusivity for Final Fantasy VII again. Do you know what I mean? It's madness. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know if the partnership, what that partnership actually means, though.
No, that's what I'm
You
saying.
know.
I just hope it doesn't mean
Yeah,
that they're locking
we
it
don't
down. But it's just
Just
odd
being-
that Discord went to Microsoft for a discussion, and then like 2 weeks later, like now we'll go with Sony. Lol.
I saw a thing with Randolph Four saying he thinks it was a bargaining thing. They were having these talks with PlayStation anyway, and they were like, "Well, you're not going to give, we're not going to raise the money we want between you and the other round of investors. We'll just sell to Xbox."
Yeah.
So they all kind of stumped up a bit more. And I think even if Xbox would have bought them, we talked about it on here, I think they still would have done something like this with PlayStation. It would have made it easier for cross-play, for communication. Sony needs this. They're
Yeah.
using Microsoft servers already for their cloud gaming and storing in a lot of their stores now. So why wouldn't they buy, or like a license to use Discord on the PS5 as well? I think it still would have gone ahead.
Oh yeah.
What if they just go and buy them? Like Microsoft just buys them, and they're just like, "Oh, okay." It's like it doesn't matter.
Sorry. That's it. Sony makes a partnership with a company, and then Microsoft just decides to
Buys them.
buy the company.
Yeah.
That's it.
They're like, "Oh."
Exclusives.
In
But then
regards
they
to
w- no, it
Sony
won't
investing, though, do you know, like they invested in Epic 200 mil, and then again, and we were like, yeah, well, Tencent have got a bigger hold on them. I'm sure I was
Yeah.
reading earlier today that the regulatory board's having a word about that at the moment, saying so they're trying to currently keep hold of that Epic investment, because they're on about making them sell it, aren't they? The Tencent.
Regulators have asked Tencent to explain all the investments they have in all American companies, or they're going to try and force them to sell any shares they hold in any American companies, which is bizarre. Like, it's dangerous precedents, because then countries elsewhere could turn around and do the same to American companies, I suppose, and then it starts off a chain reaction, and you end up with people only owning certain people. So,
It's
I don't know.
because it's Chinese, though, most likely, though.
Yes,
Unfortunately,
exactly.
there's a lot of political stuff going on in the world between China, America, and everywhere else. And two, it's like in Japan, though, isn't it? That they're a lot harder they're a lot more strict on foreign companies buying or investing in businesses in Japan, and like majority stakes and stuff than they are in some countries.
They've just announced this week that they're recording all audio in the game from now on. So even if you're in a private party chat, but you're playing their game, it's recording your audio from now on.
Who's that?
Nice.
Oh boy.
I'm thinking, or maybe we're all looking at this incorrectly. I mean, so I know Sony's not as rich as Microsoft, but yet they keep throwing out these $250 million investments, which makes them a minority investor. I believe they have like 1 or 2% or something like that. But it does get them a seat at the table, and it gets them access to information they might not otherwise have had access to. So it could. I mean, I'm sure they're getting something for it, like help with the tech or help with the implementation, or maybe in as far as Discord goes, they're probably getting the integration. But at the same time, it just may be also their seat at the table, like I said, so that they know what's going on with the people they've invested with and the competition.
Yeah.
It could almost be looked at as a conflict of interest.
You'd
I
hate to
imagine
think
as
that.
a minority shareholder, they'll get to see the financials, which will show all the Xbox games that had Unreal licenses and how much they've had to pay per game sold and the licensing cost, etc.
Yeah.
But you could then say the same about Xbox giving Sony Azure, because Microsoft, not
Yeah.
Xbox. Microsoft can be like, "Yo, Phil, look at this. Look what they're doing on this cloud service
They
here."
literally have all the data.
Yeah. They could literally be like, "Nah, you're not having that today," and just flick a switch. Like Phil just walks in and just unplugs the Sony cloud database. Like, no, not today. You would hope.
There's a Coca-Cola on a server.
Yeah.
On accident.
Ooh, I spilt my curry on it. Oh no. You'd hope these companies wouldn't do that, but with the way the world works nowadays, you never know with people. But
Yeah, but
I
here's
haven't
the
seen
thing.
some of the
here's thing,
emails
that-
this last week. That's how they speak to each other.
yeah,
It's unbelievable
Here's
how
that-
they speak. They're just like us.
yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Mind blowing. You think they'd be more corporate and professional? They're just people. It's running
Yeah.
multi-billion-dollar companies.
Speaking about companies fighting each other, go on. The big bomb that we have here.
Oh yeah. I mean, you got the Epic versus Apple, which revealed a lot of juicy tidbits about the gaming industry.
There's been one whilst we've been on this podcast that's just come out. It was put up on Reset Era, so never the most reliable, but pro PlayStation, and they took it down because it wasn't very pro PlayStation. Apparently, PlayStation have offered 6 exclusives to Epic Game Store with a minimum return guarantee of 220 million. So not 200 this time, slightly above. But they can put 6 exclusives on there as long as they get a minimum of that return. That's one of the documents that's just been leaked.
They haven't. On that though, they haven't actually agreed. It doesn't say they've agreed to it. It said it was offered. So we don't want to say that it's definitely happening. It's one of those ones where there was talks about it, and Epic are like, "We'll give you the money, give us the exclusives." It's obviously going to happen one day, and Sony, being Sony, are going to go where they get extra money. If they're going to get an extra so many 100 million for putting the games on Epic, they're going to go there. And Sony fanboys would flock to Epic Game Store to get Sony exclusives on PC. You know they would. I'd buy it on Epic Game Store if it was only on Epic Game Store. It's just life. It's a smart move. What I did notice in that leak though, it said that, well, Phil is always visiting Gabe at Valve, and I'm like,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a roller coaster week. So there's been loads and loads of leaks, especially stuff that was supposed to be sealed at the beginning of the week. They'd forgot to seal a lot of stuff, which revealed quite a lot of data. I haven't got it all in front of me, but it doesn't make anyone look good in this situation. Apple come across as dicks, Sony come across as dicks, Epic Games come across as like bullish, and Microsoft. There's nothing really positive from Microsoft apart from they seem a bit wishy-washy, to be fair, from the stuff that they've said. And
this
seems
Sony
like behind on things all the time. I'm sorry I'm late on this. I'm sorry I'm behind on this. Every email that came out with was, apologies, I'm late on this. That guy needs an organizer on his Outlook,
So this is Sony and Epic, right?
Yeah.
Why is everybody else's dirty laundry coming out?
No, it's Apple and Epic. And
okay, Apple and Epic. So
because
why is everybody's dirty laundry getting turned up?
Because Apple have subpoenaed everyone to get details about consoles and console sales and stuff. Because this argument is basically, Epic have said, well, the Apple store is locked down and it's like anti-consumer and it's unfair how it is because like you're not letting us put stuff on And obviously they're bringing Microsoft in because Microsoft have said, well, you won't let us put xCloud on it, but you've got Netflix on it. So why can Netflix be on with multiple movies, but iCloud can't? Do you know what I mean? Or xCloud, should I say?
Yeah.
I mean,
so
they are anti-consumer, and I'm an Apple user, and I admit that.
Yeah, but basically, Apple's argument is PlayStation's a lockdown system, Xbox is, Nintendo is, Epic Game Store is, and they're basically trying. It sounds like they're all trying to accuse each other of colluding to try and fuck each other, basically. But all the stuff that's coming out, it's just great. It's so bad. It's just amazing.
One interesting thing off the back of it is that Sony is now getting sued for locking down because they no longer allow digital copies of games to be sold on third parties. You can't buy them on Amazon. You can't buy them on CD keys. They've been locked down over the last few years. So they're now getting sued because of this court case about how Apple are locked in. So this whole thing has blown up and taken everyone out of it. It's just...
Yeah. Can you imagine everyone on the morning being like, fuck's sake, Epic, you prick. You should have just fucking took that 30% cut on iStore and shut fuck up, because literally everyone's dirty laundry. So like there's details about exclusivities for Xbox. I mean, look, it does look bad when we've only got Stalker 2 for 3 months. What a weird exclusive, especially since they've been tweeting that there's no plans for a PS5 release. It's like, well, what the fuck? Why have you only signed for 3 months exclusive if you're not doing another copy? Do you know what I mean? There was a lot of redacted Xbox games, though. There was a list of like things that are due out this year or last year that obviously have been delayed, and it was a big list. So I have hope that some of them are going to come out soon. At least that's the good news from it.
Yeah, one in this article talks about like how Fortnite became such a big deal that they forced PlayStation into like doing crossplay, but PlayStation wanted that extra money for it. They wanted incentives.
Yes,
for making crossplay.
They charge for crossplay, the only platform to do it.
Yeah, PlayStation charge developers. What a joke.
I want to say something real quick. Okay. This is another mini rant of mine. Epic, shut the fuck up until you give me another Unreal Tournament or Unreal. Quit bitching about the little shit until you actually start making some games again instead of selling an engine.
or selling Fortnite skins.
Or selling Fortnite skins. I mean, you didn't even finish the Fortnite story. You hopped on the money train, and now we got this battle royale that everybody is addicted to, and I still want to finish the story mode.
That's crazy.
One of the things that
did finishing the story
that made me laugh, though, that got released was the Epic Games to Ubisoft email. So basically, when they released Division 2 on the Epic Game Store because of the Uplay integration or something, in 48 hours, fraudulent transactions on Division 2 had surpassed 70% and were approaching 90%. So I don't know what that means, because like between 70 and 90 is a big deal. If it's nearly 90, say it was nearly 90. Don't say it surpassed 70, because then technically it surpassed 80% as well. And it basically says sophisticated hackers were creating Epic accounts, buying Ubisoft games with stolen credit cards, and then selling the linked Uplay accounts faster than we were able to disable the linked Ubisoft Uplay purchases for fraud. So basically, it says fraud rates are normally about 1 to 2% on the store. But for Division 2, when it launched, it was at like 70 to 90%. And then they're like, yeah, this is definitely our fault. But all of the minimum revenue guarantees remain in place. I'm like, yeah, but what about the other 70% of game sales that I'm not getting now? I'd be so pissed off. It's unbelievable.
The email from Tim Sweeney to, is it Tim Cook, the head of Apple?
What, when he was like, who are you?
He sent him an email saying, if you get rid of just having one store and allow multiple stores, you can put a code of ethics in place. If anyone breaks it, you're not liable. Whereas on your store, you're liable for anything that gets put up. This allows you to make the same money, but also not be held accountable in the event that a game breaks rules and breaks the law, etc. Yours sincerely, Tim Sweeney.
So
he emailed someone else internally, this Tim Cook, head of Apple, saying, "Was this one of the guys who was at our early demonstration thing?" Like he didn't even know who he was. Just kind of, who's this guy? Was he one of these people? And so what a slap in the face for that to come out in court. It's just so bad.
I'm just gonna type this email up. Nobody will ever know about it, and then it gets, oh shit.
Wow.
Just gonna give me advice.
I'm still really surprised with how bizarre that thing. Really, really amazing. The most amazing thing is because like Sony is making developers pay them for the crossplay, right?
Yeah.
And the PlayStation toxic fanboys counterpunch is by saying that Xbox is forcing poor indie developers to make extra developments to xCloud. That's horrible.
The crunch.
The crunch so horrible. Like what? Even though the Xbox website says that xCloud don't have any further development.
It doesn't.
So
It doesn't. It's just fanboys being idiots, stupid fanboys again.
When you get on xCloud, when you get on xCloud, you're playing off right now. The majority of the blades are Xbox One blades, but they're all going to be Series X blades. And last time I checked, a blade is going to run just like a console. So why would you have to develop differently for that?
Yeah, I had no idea also, but
it literally
that's what
says
they
on
just
the
decided to come up with.
Yeah, it literally says on the Xbox developer site, does your game work on Xbox? There is no further development needed.
Yeah,
the literal words.
All they've done now is in their terms and conditions. Basically, it sounds like they're just saying if you put a game on Xbox in the Idea Xbox program, it has to also go on xCloud. There's no extra work. They're just covering their bases because of stuff. This is because of those stupid clauses that Sony have done for like Resident Evil. They're having to do that now to combat Sony's stinginess and anti-consumer practices. That's why they wouldn't put a clause in saying you have to allow us to put it on if someone wasn't putting clauses in saying you're not putting it on other people's. Simple.
No, these ID at Xbox games only exist because Microsoft has funded them normally.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, these poor developers having to work harder. It's like, well, if it wasn't for Microsoft, they wouldn't have a game. And secondly, it's no extra work. They're giving them another platform for free to put their game on where more people can see and buy it. So that sounds terrible. These poor developers.
This poor indie developers. Oh man.
The irony is the people tweeting and complaining about this are on as many platforms as they can to get as much exposure as they can.
So everybody's pretty much together. We all hate paywalls, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, well, paying for crossplay is a big paywall before it even gets to the gamers.
Yeah.
So, but you'll hear the fanboys say, well, I can't hold anything against Sony for trying to get that money. Well, then you're going to pay for it. That's why you're paying $70 for a game.
But remember, the Sony didn't want crossplay because they're protecting the kids. That's why they're charging these developers for crossplay gameplay because they're saving your children. So be grateful.
My children are under my Xbox Live family account, and I get an email every week telling me verbatim what all of them have done on their Xboxes and who they've talked to.
And you're disgusted every day.
I don't believe Sony does that.
No. No, the Xbox Family app is fantastic though. I'm thinking of setting one up for my kid.
It's really good.
So it's something I definitely need to look into further. But yeah, there's so much. I mean, we could literally talk about this Epic thing for hours. There's been so much of it.
So funny.
It's that one that came out from the Epic's co-founder, where he just literally shits on Microsoft's AR. Do you know, like Minecraft World? And we all know, right? It's not for gaming, it's for development and stuff, but he literally rips it a new shitter. He's like, horribly overselling AR in a way that poisons the wealth in the industry. They did this same shit with HoloLens.
Yeah.
If I were Microsoft, I'd be like, Fuck you.
They're on to us.
That's
Let's be fair, it was never intended for gaming, like you said. It's ended up in the military. They're showing the capabilities of what it can do for different fields by showing how good it can do game. Well, theoretically, how good it can do gaming. It isn't doing any gaming.
Yeah, because like I know Microsoft has a lot of contracts with the military, so that's
Microsoft aren't going to worry about Xbox, but they're just great. So basically, the main issue is it came out about crossplay. Epic went to PlayStation, and PlayStation were like, well, there's no benefit for us. We don't want to do it. And then basically, they've even released things here. Look, this is Tim Sweeney to Phil. Dear Phil, Sony's interoperability restrictions have put both of our companies in an untenable position, adversarial to our customers. Many Fortnite players are kids, and their friendships are being torn apart by Sony's segregation of players on competing platforms. Frankly, we do not believe Sony's position is even legal. And then please see the attached analysis prepared for our European Council in context of EU law, including, importantly, GDPR data, portability mandates with direct bearing on cross-play and cross-purchase. So basically, even Epic were saying Sony are being a shit. And then the other email that came out was basically Epic going, we will make this good for you. We'll give you a good deal. We'll make Sony look like the good guys, the heroes that brought crossplay when fucking Sony didn't even want it. So
they offered them exclusive characters and everything for Fortnite, didn't they? We'll make characters based just on your game. We'll make you be the good guys.
Yeah, we'll give you loads of promotion. We'll give you all sorts. We'll give you a reach around. We'll polish it off. I mean, honestly,
they need to visit your room late at night, you know.
It is very, very odd, and so interesting. And I can only assume we're going to get more. I mean, even the judge kind of understands it. She said, I've got it here. She said to them, to Apple, she said she was confused at why Apple would require a separate app for every game. She's like, I can use Netflix with a native app, and I can see lots of different movies or TV shows or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you didn't want to use a subscription model for? And yeah, this is the point. It's just Apple being greedy twats. That's what it is. It's $1 billion company fighting another $1 billion company over billions of dollars. That's all it is.
So, you know, she's not the most tech-savvy woman in the world from some of her comments, and she has to sit in on an argument over Epic versus Apple. And then they apparently, not long after the bit you were on about with how Netflix works, they did the metahuman demonstration, and she asked what a metahuman is, and then they had to explain how Fortnite is no longer a game, but it's a meta-universe, and they had to try explain this to her. This poor woman. She never played a game in her life, and all this explained.
She was like, "Is that like Ready Player One?" And they're like, "Yes, that's Ready." Basically, they're trying to say Fortnite isn't a game; it's like a place where people can go and just like do whatever they want and live their freedom. Fuck off. Fortnite with fucking a random movie and a show every month is nothing like Ready Player One. I've seen that film, and they were riding a DeLorean from King Kong. Don't give me shit saying Fortnite is anything like that. Do you know what I mean? They're just trying to get around the fact. They're trying to say that Fortnite shouldn't be fall under like just a game thing to try and get around like Apple's clauses, basically. But it's funny. Yeah. It's funny because like one of them, the lawyer was like to Microsoft, so on Xbox, and they're like, which Xbox? And they're like, the Xbox. And they were like, do you mean the Xbox, the all-in-one entertainment system, or do you mean Xbox on PC? And he's like, what?
Xbox the platform. Yeah.
It's like no tech-savvy people dealing with tech-savvy people. It's great. It's terrible, and it's just cringe, and it's great. I love it, and I hope more comes out. Apple have subpoenaed Microsoft, though, haven't they? Because Microsoft said we don't make money on our consoles. We've never made money off our consoles, which is kind of what we all expect, because consoles cost a lot of money, and they subsidise that with revenue from games. But they didn't like that answer, and now they're making them give them more files. And I wish they should be able to say, fuck off.
They're saying that if they don't provide it in 3 days, their testimony should be struck off the record. Which means that also removes everything they said about the Netflix bit, because that then goes in Apple's favour. So you can see why Apple are pushing for it.
It's very dirty.
As well, which is really weird because they went to Valve asking for information, and Valve gave it to them. And then they said, okay, what we also want is a breakdown of every game you've sold in the store for the last 10 years and every sale, revenue figures, everything for each game. They were like, yeah, we're not fucking doing that. So they went and subpoenaed them to get it. It's like, oh, we've been helping you. We're not even involved in this thing. And now you're subpoenaing us. They're literally going after anyone they can to get any information they can. Yeah. It's great for us. We get to see all this shit coming out.
But people are trying to spin it in positive lights. None of it's positive. Literally, none of it that has come out has been positive. It's all bad.
The only positive thing for Xbox is there's about 13 games that should have been out by now, which are either exclusive or third-party made exclusives that have been pushed back till after E3. So we're going to have a jam-packed end of this year, beginning of next year. That's the only positive from this. We've got 13 games that we should have had by now that have been pushed back. Everything else makes everyone look like shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of redacted stuff on the Microsoft stuff. They did like an analysis of like everyone's earnings, didn't they? That Microsoft did internally, but all the Microsoft stuff was blacked out, which I thought was funny. I'm assuming that'll get leaked later on, but we'll have to see. But yeah, it's been really interesting, and I don't know how it's going to end. For me, they should be allowed, in my opinion. I don't give a shit about Apple and Epic. In my opinion, if Epic put their game on Apple Store, they can't then circumvent the payment option with their own inbuilt payment option. That's wrong. But Microsoft putting an app that allows you to access games on a subscription is exactly the same as Netflix. There's no difference about it. So that should be allowed, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it should be.
It's going to be a weird outcome anyway. I think Apple's probably going to win.
You know,
the way it's gone. Epic have folded under pressure whenever they put somebody up in front of them. They got nothing. Tim Sweeney, his best comment, the whole thing was how anti-consumer this is. He's fighting for the little guy. And they got a document which said he asked for preferential rates over other companies.
Yeah.
And the judge said, okay, would you have accepted it if they'd agreed? He said, absolutely. He's like, no, you're meant to be fighting for everyone. The answer is no.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, would you take a special deal that no one else got? And it's like, yes. And you can just see his lawyers at the side going,
oh, man.
It's no lie.
That's what your whole argument's about, Tim. What are you doing?
But shall we go?
Gina, you got my head spinning now when you mentioned that Phil calling Gabe Newell.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
He's been visiting him regularly, according to Epic.
See
That's
that?
interesting.
I mean, if you think about it, all the really PC-based players have got a very, very long relationship with Microsoft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've seen it with Bethesda. We've seen it with many other companies, and Valve it being one of those. You got me reeling, man. I'm like, oh wow, is an Oculus partnership really a possibility?
Do you mean the what's it called? The Valve, is it Index? The Valve Index, the VR headset that Valve do?
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be Gamepass on Steam in the future. It could be Steam becoming bought by Microsoft, technically. Could you imagine Microsoft bought Steam and then actually had a decent game store? Because that's the problem Xbox has. The Windows Store is one of the worst. It only is slightly better than the Epic Store, but at least the Epic Store gives you free games. Do you know what I mean? So there's so many possibilities. Maybe Left 4 Dead 3. That's all we want. Half-Life 3, Xbox exclusive. People would cry over that, wouldn't they? Could you imagine the hatred that would get online from fanboys?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Sure.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
It'd be funny.
One of the
It would be great. All the hatred and chaos. That would be awesome.
I would throw a tweet out there, and I would just sit back and go, "Okay, bring it to me. I want to know how much you hate this."
I
feel your envy.
I don't know. There's
now when your journey towards
some people think that you're able to like play Steam games on your Xbox and stuff like that. I've heard people rumor about that, but I don't know.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
everything's possible. I doubt it's it's going to happen, but anything is possible in this day and age. But Valve have come out and said Xbox is the best console. Valve has got they've got a decent relationship with Microsoft. They've remember when Left 4 Dead was like an exclusive? Orange Box was a timed exclusive. Portals and stuff. There's been a lot of link up. I honestly think the Valve headset would be a really good idea for the Xbox because one, Microsoft don't have to invest in it then, so they don't have to worry. It's already set up. It's basically a PC. It could run it, and it's win-win for Valve because they could get a trim off all the VR games.
A bit of technical aspect about the Series consoles. I don't know if y'all know it or not, but so your new Series controllers, they do have Bluetooth, but the Series consoles do not use Bluetooth. The Series consoles they went with direct Wi-Fi, which is basically like a wireless network connection, like your router would have with a laptop in your home, to controller console. They did that for the latency aspect. That's part of how they got the latency down as far as they got it with the new controllers. What I'm curious about and what I haven't been able to find is the bandwidth capability of that direct Wi-Fi. Can it or could it support a wireless headset? That would be amazing. It would be other than the Oculus Rift, which is only wireless because it has the CPU and everything built into it. An actual wireless headset with another device would be, that would be the first of its kind.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Like I say, and I'm sure we'll end up talking about this next week because it's going on again this week. So I'm sure there'll be more tasty tidbits. But if you do want to follow up with this, I found the best place is Tom Warren on Twitter at the moment because he's sort of been compiling it all. There are other places and there are other people that are leaking it and then sharing it and then he's sort of picking it up. But I've been just following his feed because it's been a lot more concise and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Tom Warren's a good dude.
Yeah. Also, while she was speaking about bad storefronts, I don't know if you saw this breaking news this week. Stadia has got a search bar now. You can search for a game on there instead of having to scroll through the hundreds of pages to find the game you want to buy.
And more people have left Stadia this week as well to join that Jade Raymond Stadia team.
Are we actually gonna talk about that?
No, that's it. We've mentioned it. What we're going to do, because this is it, we've come to the end of our topics. We're going to mention one really important bit of information that I've just seen today. On the Major Nelson's podcast, his Xbox dynamic background was the original OG Xbox, the Pulse. So
beautiful.
It looks like we're going to get that in the future as a dynamic background for your Xbox Series X and S, which is fantastic because that is cool as hell. And they like to tease things that way, don't they? So Bob's having fun there. So
clip that, clip that quickly.
Looked like he was thinking about the vampire lady again for a second.
Yeah.
No, if I started thinking about the vampire lady, I'd shut the camera off for you guys.
You can do that in a minute.
Here he goes.
You're gonna grab that action figure, right?
But a big thank you to everyone who's watched and joined in, all the new people that have said hello in the chat. So big thank you to all you. Big thank you to you guys for joining in again this week. We'll hopefully have Slayer back next week if he stops trying to beat my game achievement run. If you're listening to this on later on, it will be up on YouTube in its full. You can have a listen pretty soon once ever it processes, and it'll be up on Anchor and all those sort of Spotify and all those sort of podcasting places. Big thank you, like I say again, to all those new listeners on the Spotify things. Like I say, I can't believe how much it's exploded in this last 2 weeks. So thank you for listening along. If you want to help support the channel, give us a like and a subscribe, and then just share it out when we're live. That would be fantastic. If you go on our channel and you just go down, you can find links to KY Bob's channel where he's got his own podcast, the Ginner's channel where he does regular reviews, gameplay, Same with Slayer. You can find our reviews on our channel, and you can find us all on Twitter. I'll share it in the description once this episode's ending. And other than that, thank you guys. Hope you've all had a good time.
Yep, it's been
As
awesome, man.
always.
I do have one thing to say. The Xbox Series podcast that I host is going to be away. We didn't do one this past week, and we won't be doing one for the next 2 weeks because I've had a change in schedule with my job. And
No worries.
I'm the one running it, so I'm unable to do it on Mondays. And if we do come up with an alternative schedule that works with all of the panel members, then I will tweet that out and I will let everybody know.
Oh yeah, and we'll share that on our socials
sure.
if anything changes. But for now, you can find Bob here with us every Saturday from 8 p.m. BST. I don't know what that is to your local time, but feel free to join us 8 p.m. UK time. And if that's it, I think we'll see everyone next week then.
Yeah, see you guys.
so much, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.